die for the color of your shoestrings. Either sling, crack, rock, I had a hoop dream. Peace, 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 love and light, y'all. This is Know the Ledge TV. And you are now rocking with the best. Yes, indeed. This is your host, Brother Blue. All right. I'm actually a minute early. I got the drop on 11 o'clock hour. But it's all good. We in the building. I'm gonna give y'all an opportunity to fill in. All right. Welcome back to another explosive episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. This is episode number 7. All right. And it's an honor to be here. All right. Shout out to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. Beginning beautiful start of your week here on this glorious Tuesday, this day of war. Cheer. Another powerful, impactful, informational program has been put together, packaged, and presented to you here on this evening. Know the Ledge Media / Know the Ledge TV, Tough Talk Tuesday, episode 7, featuring Blue Pill and our guest, Ken BRISBON. All right. Shout out to y'all, of course. Monumental shout out to Empress B444. Okay, everybody give her a thumbs up, applaud her in due form for the work that she does, holding us down over here. Yeah, shout out to Nashville. A 585 checking in. That's Houston too, okay? I guess this is what Red Pill be doing, the check-ins and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of slick right there. Yeah, shout out to everybody, wherever you're at, wherever you're from. You know what I'm saying? You in the building tonight. What they say? It don't matter where you from, it's where you at. So you are here, you rocking with the best. Yes, indeed. You in the building. And we appreciate you. Shreveport, Louisiana. Ratchet City. Okay, okay. Yes, roll call. Brick City, I see Jersey in the building. Cali, throw the dubs up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to rep hard for y'all tonight. Phoenix is in the building. We got family in Phoenix. Colorado. Shout out to Colorado. Oakland, Oaktown, the city. Okay. Shot Town is in the building. Brat. Sacktown. All right. Flint was good. Still got to get that situation right for Flint. Oak Cliff, Texas. We're gonna rep for Texas tonight too. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna rep for Texas. PA's in the building. Shout out to PA. All right. Tonight's program, of course, being sponsored by Solgo Biz, SOLEGOLDBIZ.com. His name is Nick Gers. Shout out to your brother, Nick Gers. All right. Shout out to the family. Compton's in the building. We're going to represent for Compton as well. Shout out to Compton. BK, Brooklyn, you know, that's home. So always, Brooklyn is always in the building. All right. When you see us, you see BK. All right. You see BX too. I was born in the Bronx. I was bred in Brooklyn. You know, I got my weight up in Harlem. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to CT. Shout out to Connecticut. Y'all need to regulate. You know, that's where the Nipsey mural got violated in Connecticut. I don't really understand that. I'm gonna need a background check. You know what I mean? I don't. I can't speak too much on it because I don't know. But shout out to y'all. Right, lights is in the air. You dig what I'm saying? tonight, we're being sourced. The power is being sourced by, I got the mural going over here. Shout out to the Black Candles collection, the Black Saints collection. Matter of fact, you know, they got me right. Got that Nipsey candle. All right. The Black Saints collection. You can find them on IG. Dig what I'm saying? They got me right. I got the whole pantheon over here. You know, we got the doc in the building, of course. Shout out to Sabi. All right. Watch Sabi work. They will not win. Trust me when I tell you. Watch him work. Feel me? Let him go arch. Let him go arch. It's almost necessary for prophecy to be fulfilled. All right, we got that MJ. Why is this always taking place? Why do people be calling me during the show like they don't on my social media? They don't fucking respect my artistic gangster. I'm on the air. God damn. Yeah. Red and blue, purple. Red and blue, purple. Right? All of these individuals here are synchronistically connected and related. Right? We got our Sam Cooke, brother we was talking about previously, also made transition at the age of 33 in the City of Angels, revolutionary in his own right. You dig what I'm saying? Trendsetter. Right? For the youngins, you know what I'm saying? Another brother we was talking about, got that messianic energy, ex extension. All right, we respect and love his light. And the big dog, right in the center, right? Generating, empowering all of these candles. The big dog, Marcus Garvey, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? Black Moses, peace, love, and light. The God body. Let us not forget. All right. So on IG, the Black Saints collection. Hit them up, you know, so you can get your situation popping as well. You get your altar situated. Dig what I'm saying? And you know, we're not conjuring nobody up. This is all about paying respect to the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And I, like I said, I I recognize that they all have an intricate relationship with one another. So I'm not just calling one and I'm calling all of them in. This is the pantheon. I want to replace the pantheon of Christian saints. The shit that we see our people burning and they be like praying about, yo, the oppression has to stop, and you know, like not even cleverly realizing where the majority of it is coming from, and you burning the candles to those very same saints. So I want to stop that shit in its tracks. You dig what I'm saying? And I want to edify my ancestors, you know. I want to edify my ancestors. I want to give them light. You know what I'm saying? I want to light the way. I want to guide them back to this dimension and do the work that's necessary. You feel me? You know, I'm gonna find out what each one of them like in terms of the food and the candies and stuff like that. You know, we're gonna dress this shit up like they deserve, like we really need to. And I'm not gonna allow nobody to tell me different. You know what I'm saying? And you should do the same for your ancestors, you know. And I already have my ancestors altar in the back, you know, with my direct family lineage, my bloodline. So, you know, I'm not neglecting nobody. Everybody gets a chance, opportunity to shine. But with no further ado, because we're about 8 or 9 minutes in, and a lot of the people have filled into the room. You know what I'm saying? So let me go and open up the line and get my guests in the building. All right. I'm always excited to get to talk to the God. So with no further ado, all right, let me take this mute off for the Peace 11 Light.
What up? What up? What up? What up?
Brother Ken, you in the building? You with us?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I don't hear you. No. I hear like a murmuring.
You can't. Yeah,
Oh,
you can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
no, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I
Somebody,
can hear you.
y'all hear him?
Can
Okay.
you
Somebody
can
in
you
the
hear me?
chat said they hear you.
Oh, they do. They hear me. Okay.
Okay, they saying, yup. I gotta get my game together. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. All right, let me figure out what this is. Disable talk and remove video. No, that ain't it. Talking permitted. Let me see what's going on. Everything plugged in the way they need to be plugged into. All right, y'all saying y'all can hear them. Okay, everybody did. Y'all all set on that. Y'all can hear 'em. Let me hear you say something again.
Can you hear me now?
Y'all can hear 'em.
What about now?
Damn, why can't I hear you though? Say something again.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Go to more disable talk and chat. Panel list. Promote the panel list. Boom. Say something now. Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can see you now,
Oh, what about hear me?
but I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me? What about now? What about now? Can you hear me?
Mute. Unmute. Mute audio. Pin audio. Spotlight video. Make host. Change role to attendee. Remove your name. Put on hold. Pin video. Chat. Mute audio. No, audio's not muted. All right. They say that they could see and hear you, which
Okay,
is
can you
amazing.
hear me?
You know what I'm saying? And the chat is saying they can hear us both. And it's 11:11. I should have meditated on this shit. But I can see you, but I can't hear you.
What about now?
Hold on. Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Why is this not? All right, say something now.
What about now? Yo, yo,
Say something.
yo. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yo,
No, I can't hear you. You want to log out and come back in just in case?
yeah, let me log out and come back in.
Allowed to talk. Unmute. Hello? Unmute audio. Why is this shit acting up? Unmute audio. All right. We're just going to wait for him to come back in, because I got to get the audio together. It's going to be very hard to dialogue if I can't hear the brother. Okay, that's dope. All right, just give it a second. He'll be back. And we will get this situated. All right. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for your attendance. All right, he back in the building. Boom. Let's see. Allowed to talk. Peace.
Yo, yo, yo. Yo,
Hello?
yo. Yeah, yeah, yo, yo.
Why is this shit sounding muffled?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yo, yo.
More. Boom. Disable talking. Promote the panelists. Switch that back in. Yeah. I still don't hear you though.
What about now? What about now? Yo.
I'm assuming that the rest of them could hear you. He sound good. YouTube needs a good saging. Yeah. I was about to sage right before this. Nah, yeah, I understand that y'all saying that y'all can hear him. But if I can't hear him, how we gonna dialogue? Trace my wires. Okay. Hold on. Hello?
Yo.
Hello?
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Nah.
You
Like
can't.
very vaguely. I can't it sounds super low. Not even necessarily muffled, just very low.
Very low. But they hear me clear, right?
You saying you can hear me clear, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think the chat is saying the same thing.
Okay, your output somewhere is low.
Nah, it's not an issue with the chat. Is I can't hear him through my contraption that I'm using. This device that I'm utilizing the broadcast through. This is where the audio and everything is running from and through the Zoom. So that's what I'm trying to get a handle on that. And if I don't have to start it over, I really don't want to. I'm trying to troubleshoot. I'm attempting to troubleshoot in real time. Just give me a second. Audio. Come on, what's good with this audio? Hello?
Yo,
There's an echo now. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can run it through the computer as opposed to running it through these headphones. Go to the computer, built-in, select speaker, same as system, built-in output internals. Hello?
yo,
Yeah, can you hear me?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
All right, we Gucci. Yeah, I had to set the audio through the computer as opposed to the device that I got. It might be the headphones. It might be something else. So either which way, it should
Can you
matter.
still can you
Building.
still can you still hear me?
I can hear you, God.
Okay, good.
We troubleshoot it in real time, and we set the tone for what the whole theme of this presentation tonight is about. You know, with patience and diligence,
Mhm,
you know what I'm saying, comes the breakthroughs.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. How's everybody out there?
I would imagine that family is very well.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Please let me know, y'all, if if the audio and everything coming in good. Yeah, you gotta stay calm under pressure, family. You gotta
Hmm.
stay fit. You know what I mean? And it'll all work itself out. Now I had some video a second ago. I don't know if you want me to put the video back on, but
Oh yeah, you caught me off guard. I was folding clothes. You caught me off guard.
oh god, I did. Yeah, my bad. That wasn't purposeful. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you know I could have been throwing one back and everything. You know what I'm saying? Getting saucy.
All right. They said that y'all saying my audio is low, but y'all could
I hear you good.
your audio sound disconnected, Blue. You are low, but we can hear you. All right. Well, I'm okay. I'm talking into the wrong thing. I guess I gotta talk directly into the computer. There we go. Shout out to Q Butter. It's good family. Yeah, so I'm more so talking in the computer now. So let me know if it sounds a little bit better speaking directly into the computer. All right, it sound better? We good? Wonderful. Peace, love, and light, family. Welcome back to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. This is episode 7. Today is April 30th. And before we even go forward, I want to send peace, love, and light to the family, the spirit, the legacy of our brother John Singleton. You know, we speak about how important the first 72 hours are of, our the family joining the realm of the ancestors, that transitional period of, when they get their affairs settled and they get ready to cross over, you know what I'm saying, and go wherever that journey is going to take them. In traditional African traditions, this is the time that if we were on a continent, the body would be not touched, you understand? It would be allowed to do what it needs to do, and the family would gather, and in some particular families it would be ceremonious, you know what I'm saying? And they would have harmonious things to say about that person in their life. So, you know, we take this particular time to honor the life and the legacy of John Singleton, and what he brought to the table. This is a very interesting situation, you know what I mean? Being that it ties directly into the Nipsey narrative, if you will. John Singleton gave us a front row seat to life in Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying, at a time in which many of us, we only knew what we saw on TV. And at that time, pretty much what you were seeing on TV was NWA, for the family that never really got over there to the West, to the family that only was introduced to the West Coast through hip hop. The only thing you saw was NWA, you know. And I heard Red Pill last night. He was making some amazing connections, and he was talking about the fact that at a time when both of our rap icons in the game from the West Coast, who were rather, they were lyrical, they was militant, you know what I'm saying, but they had targets on their backs because of the stance that they were taking. That being Tupac Shakur and that being O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube, right? At that time, arguably probably my favorite rapper at that time. John Singleton, through the vehicle of cinema, was able to humanize the caricatures that these individuals had become. He was able to humanize the caricature that gang life had become because we were only seeing it through a media lens, whether that media lens be through nightly news or through the media lens of entertainments, right? The big corporate machine that started getting behind, the imagery that they was pushing out. John Singleton came and he humanized, that particular you know, that particular lifestyle. He gave it a narrative. He gave us Furious Styles. He introduced the majority of the people on this line to gentrification back in the day. Right? Am I talking facts or am I just talking? So the brother had a plethora of films that came afterwards. You know what I'm saying? A healthy list. To me, even when you talk about our great cinematic greats like Spike Lee, not too many people saw She's Gotta Have It. You know what I'm saying? And some people feel what they may about it. To me, Boys in the Hood was an excellent film. There's very few films that I could say are excellent films, right? It was an excellent film. The way it was shot, the message it conveyed, the emotionalism of it, the fact that it necessarily wasn't glorifying the gang life and what have you, but it gave you a narrative. You know what I'm saying? It had socio-political messages in it, and it still gave you the entertainment. You dig what I'm saying? Boys in the Hood was an excellent film, and that was the brother's first cinematic debut. Now, prior to that, he gave us Remember the Times. He was the director. He was the genius behind that. You feel me? So when we look at this 10-year capsule right now, and the way that it ties in, I started writing a book on my way back from Denver, and it was dealing with this whole 10-year capsule of Sabi, Michael Jackson, Nipsey, you know what I'm saying? And how I was able to interplay into all of these situations and make sense of the shit. So even this situation with John Singleton, my 10-year capsule dealing with Michael Jackson is that on the Wednesday before he died, I went and seen the Transformer movie. It was Transformers 2, the Dark Side of the Moon, or some shit like that. And in that movie, I just started feeling like I saw all of these messages that were speaking about Mike. In particular, anytime that I see Pixie Stardust in a movie, I think about Mike. When I see the cat, they was in Kemet. They knocked the pyramids down. All of this shit was like, yo, this is Michael Jackson energy specifically because of that movie, because of Remember the Times. Now, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Astro Kwesi, they gave us all sorts of visual tapestry to work with when they were speaking about them being our ancestors and, Kemet and the glorious history and everything, right? But we were never given that front row seat. We were never given the visuals. We didn't see ourselves in that cloth until Remember the Time came. And you really got to see that shit. And you was like, oh, that's what that shit looked like. That's what that shit feels like. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be eternally grateful for that lens, that eye, that mind that was able to conceptualize and put together that treat, And then there's so many more things that the brother was able to do with his skill, his craft, that lens. You know what I'm saying? He was the hip hop director. So we definitely want to pay full homage to the God, and you better believe that he's gonna be joining the Pantheon. You know what I'm saying? He will be joining the Pantheon, and it's worth noting that the officer that he had playing in the movie, that did the whole Crenshaw scene, towards the middle, when he backed the gat out on Trey, he's like, man, you look like you from Crenshaw Mafia. Maybe you from the Rolling 60s. And that was the same excerpt that Nipsey used to open up Crenshaw, which he also popularized on the cover of the Crenshaw album, the Red Album, when he wore the Crenshaw sweatshirt. That was the same sweatshirt that Trey wore in towards the end of Boys in the Hood when he was on the stoop with Doughboy. When Doughboy hit him with they either don't know, they just don't show, or they don't care about what's going on in the ghetto. You dig what I'm saying? So he took that Crenshaw design after popularizing the first Crenshaw design, which comes from Crenshaw High School, and he utilized that to really pop off the whole marathon campaign. You know what I'm saying? So see the shit come full circle. Also, the fact that John Singleton was going to hire Lauren London to play She Read for a role in Snowflake. Is that what the shit is called? Am I saying it right? You know what I'm talking about? The series that he developed dealing with the life of Rick Ross, who I was just
Snowfall.
Snowfall. I just seen Rick Ross last week in out here in Atlanta. Got the book autographs and everything. So she was already, keyed in for that role, and she got pregnant. So she pushed that aside, you know what I mean, and had a child. She sacrificed her career. You dig what I'm saying? Do the other thing. So, that's a few connections. There's a few more, you know what I mean? But both of these individuals had the ability to humanize life in LA when we were looking at it on TV and it was being presented to us as a caricature. You understand? And we want to salute both of them brothers for their skill set and their contribution to the genre. Right? Oh, so the officer that was in that particular excerpt, I think his name is Jesse Ferguson. He died on Friday at the age of 76. Originally from the Bronx, New York, born in 1942. Shout out to him. May his light also, find its way back to the essence, to the ancestors. And yeah, they say death comes in threes. Man.
Blue, can you hear me, bro?
Yes.
I would not be me if I. I would not be me if I didn't come from the perspective. Okay. Certainly, bruh's camera game was ill, and I'm only talking in the now, right?
Yes.
The movie is about young black men dying, Boys in the Hood, right?
Yes.
It's about young black men die. I seen that movie, right? I see the movie looked like my neighborhoods when I lived in Baltimore. Well, let me finish what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying. Because a generation is 30 years. You know, it's not when you watched it, it's how the things play out and the power of film, right? And the power of film. I'll give you an example of the power of film. The reason why the Caucasian mythos is the way it is because they play with the past in the movie and when they create their films. And they put themselves in places that they weren't. Okay. So when you're watching Achilles, he did not exist, but the brain can't differentiate what's real and what's not real. They made Exodus, they made Noah, they put themselves in space, they make themselves heroic, they create Superman, okay? And they create their legend through their movies. That's the power of film, okay? Now, when everybody watched Boys in the Hood, the power of that film was what? Yeah, Furious was dope, but that's not what goes to your subconscious mind. Ricky getting shot in the back does. And that movie is adds to the diet that we all been on from black males dying. Now, if I talk about black heroes in movies, I could talk about Blank Man. The thing about it is that whole way from Colors
Yeah.
to Menace to Society
Yeah.
to Boys in the Hood,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't heal where I lived at. People became that shit.
Right.
They didn't put a cape on, my dude. They didn't the connection between black men and black women wasn't wasn't it didn't influence a love season like when Clark Kent or Superman is always saving Lois Lane. Then when you look at the black man and ask, well, why these niggas like white girls so much? Because they grew up seeing a dude always saving a white woman. No matter where he was, Superman is gonna save Lois Lane.
Facts.
No matter where he was, right? So yeah, salute to John. Any dude that come up in this culture, yo, get it how you live. But in hindsight, objectivity, without my emotions, they're deaf movies. They are deaf movies. Now, John Singleton is great. I mean, we need a black Stan Lee at this point because those heroic movies are go into the subconscious. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the European male, why he becomes a police officer, a fireman, why he goes to the military, why does he do these things? At its core is movies of Superman, is John Wayne, is Clint Eastwood, is Steven Seagal. They feel patriotic. They feel like they're doing a service to the country. Okay, they're inspired. Their imagination is inspired, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we're our movies that are classics are death. It's young black men dying. These are classic movies. Paid in Full is a classic movie. The niggas losing. Boys in the Hood, niggas losing. Don't Menace to Society, niggas losing. And I understand people say, well, yo, it's just talking about the what's really going on. Nah, man, that's not what you do with art. What you do with art is you create the reality that you want to have. That's what the European did. He don't create himself as a caveman, my nigga. He creates himself in space. He creates himself prominent. He doesn't take the worst parts of himself and make blockbuster
Um,
films for the most part, bro.
I, while I do agree with you, I would say that the narrative, even though what you're saying is right, we do remember Ricky. That's because that was very traumatizing, and that stood out the most. But the movie was based around Trey and his relationship with his father, and Trey's relationship, his externalized relationship to the friends that he grew up that didn't have fathers, and the fact that his father was able to impress upon him when it came time to make a decision, him making that right decision. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that one child got saved from that very traumatizing experience of losing a friend and niggas riding out, right? Because that was relatable because that what was happening at the time. You understand? So while I do agree that it did have a tinge of and it wasn't, I can't say it had a tinge of the glamorization of death like Menace to Society did, in the way that that shit turned people. I think Menace to Society is when the shit went off the rails. Boys in the Hood, you know, because of how it was made and how it was shot, it was it had a little bit more responsibility to it.
But Blue, let's go to the subconscious mind again. Yes, it did show Trey and his father. It also showed Trey's father and his mother broke up. Now let's go into the classic movies of what we consider in Europe in white culture that's classic. The Godfather, two-parent household, right? The Bronx Tale, two-parent household. Okay. uh I can keep going on of what we say is classics over there. The thing about it that okay, the thing about it is, yes, I know single parent households in the black community is like 70%. But if I make a film, I want to make the film showing a strong family because that goes into the subconscious mind. Let's go out of entertainment. Images are important and the brain can't differentiate what's real and what's not. Now, if the power of Trey and his father was so strong, then sons and their fathers would be that close in the black community right now because that Superman image is powerful
Right.
and that Lois Lane image is powerful. And what I'm saying is for our entertainment and our diet is always death. John Singleton's movies, fire, he's dope, but it's no different than Ready to Die album, 10 Crack Commandments. This is our diet. We have a generation of people that are raised off death. Young niggas dying, black women out here by themselves, looking crazy, same shit. Now, Furious was fire. His character was fire. Now, you mean to tell me they couldn't have matched that man up with that woman? I'm just saying, though.
They couldn't have matched him up with
Wait,
Angela Bassett.
yeah,
Nah, it was that's not the narrative. The
but
narrative
that's
that
the
was happening
problem.
at the time,
That's what I'm saying. Uh,
they
uh,
were speaking
so
to something that you know what I'm saying. That what happened when we were given the thing that was non-relatable. What did niggas say to the Cosby Show? That shit is not relatable. That doesn't reflect my life.
you still got to do it. The thing about it, it's not what you feel at the moment. It's 30 years later. That's the point. Because the thing about it is, the thing that makes you a hero in movies, you always get the girl. You have to get the woman. So Furious, they show him hella intelligent, but then at the same time, you see him with not with the person he had a kid with. Like for real, him, you're gonna give him that level of intelligence and that level of articulation, but then at the same time, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, but him and the mother are not together. Really? The thing about it is, the people don't know what they
It
want.
was
The people don't know what they want, bro. At the end of the day, people eat dollar menu. Oh, that's not real. That's no. You put it out anyway, and it's 30 years later. Because guess what? Boys in the Hood is a classic. But I ask you, what did it do to the culture, though? What did it do? What did it actually do?
what the boys in the hood do for the
Yeah,
culture.
yeah. What did it actually do? Give, what was anything in that the movie? Give me a positive that's equal to the death.
It humanized Ice Cube. It started his Hollywood journey
Okay.
something other than a rapper and an actor. But like I said, it also gave you a narrative of Los Angeles that was humanizing outside of what we were receiving by way of the news, which was straight chaos. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, this is how it this is what it spoke to me as. You feel me? And it made me because it was so well shot, like the cinematic value of it. made me want to go into film. I really appreciated how that film was conveyed artistically. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I walked away with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of, it also gave people an option to say, look, I can have an out. I don't have to, you don't always got to ride. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't always got to ride. You know, Kane didn't have that option in Menace. They took that away from him. Everything the boys in the hood did, Minister Society came behind them and undid
Mm-hmm.
on purpose. You understand? That
Mm-hmm.
was that was the hyperdrive of it. You know, Boys in the Hood was able to responsibly pump the brakes.
Mm. I'm
You know, and we can agree to disagree. It's cool.
no, I'm just trying to I'm trying to put your lens on because I'm stuck between damn Reginald Lewis don't got a movie. The reason why I understand imagination and I understand the power of it, and I look in the grand scheme of things, and only thing the thing about us in death, we go towards that. There was a series of movies that it looked like that, and now look at you get to travel, bro.
Absolutely.
You get to travel. Look at the people. Look how they living. A lot of that is from film and media, bro.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So what I'm saying is, I don't care if these niggas say, "Oh man, we don't live up." That's what they're saying now. But 30 years from now, you'll track it and be like, "Damn, this right here sparked the imagination," because that's what it's about. It's about sparking the imagination and inspiring. So that whole wave right there, though, I'm like, yo, that was get your coin.
Yeah, like I remember being in North Carolina in the '90s, um, at a club called Side Effects in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I remember them mimicking that scene out of Boys in the Hood when homie pulled the UOP out and lit the parking lot up, and they did the shit for jokes, for shits and giggles, just because they could, you know. So unfortunately, yes, we're going to mimic dysfunctional behavior, right? That's just unfortunately who we have become. You
And it's
understand?
our and it's our and it's our classics.
It's our classics. It's our classics.
It's our it's our classics. You feel me? And the thing about it is, if we're all gonna agree that the plight of the so-called African American man and woman is unique, if we all agree that it's unique, then the movies and the art has to be equally as unique. We can't say on one hand that we're oppressed, we're this, we're that, but then we write raps and create film about the very same thing that is getting on our nerves. You have to use film to project yourself to another space. Again, the European puts himself in places that he was not,
Facts.
right? So while we're arguing to say, is Christianity an African religion? Is Islam an African religion? Do you know what the European is going to do? He's going to make a film, and that film is going to say that whether it is or it isn't. That's what you use film for. So if we're interested in black people doing better, living better, eating better, moving around better, then you create the film and you create the art and you place them in a place that they currently are not, and then they will catch up to that shit. I know because the white man did it. He was
Indeed.
Achilles did not exist. He was not Noah. He was not Moses. He was you. Do we really think people spend billions of dollars on film just to entertain?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so it's more than that, right? So now look. Now me and you are not going to be here, Blue, but the generations that this is a crazy death blow in the West. The generations that's coming behind you and I are going to look at the white man always being here throughout time memorial, and he's in space. So he has gave himself a cosmic origins too because of Star Trek,
Fact. Star Wars too.
Star Wars.
I'm
Now, so
saying that,
he's in space, he's in space, and he's in the past. What that's doing is bleeding everybody else out. And now you have to look at it and say, well, when Claude Anderson was talking about a permanent underclass, how do you first create a permanent underclass? You create media that's for the underclass. So though I love John Singleton, this is objective because now I've been alive for a long time where I can see it played out. Those are films for the permanent underclass, bro. And that's just call it what it is. It is, and the reason why I say that is because the culture doesn't have real nuance, so where you can make that kind of film. Because again, me and you talk about this all the time. Where's the movie with Reginald Lewis? We just talked about Jeremiah Hamilton last week. We talked about Austin Dabney last week. There are so many films and so many things. Adam Clayton Powell needs a film. There's not been a real portrayal of Marcus Garvey on film. You know what I'm saying? What about Paul Robeson? He spoke 9 languages, 8 9 languages. So you telling me to entertain black people, you have to put a gun out there? Like, why? What's wrong if we raise our standard and say, yeah, at the particular time, that's what it was. That's what it was. But
like
now,
yeah, let's put the time in context too. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
That was the
right.
early '90s. What
Yeah, it was early
91,
90s.
92? Snoop Dogg
Hmm.
came out.
Yeah,
Chronic
totally.
was
Hmm.
on full blast. It was
Hmm.
the West Coast takeover, right?
Hmm.
Gangsterism had already infiltrated hip hop. So, like I said, if that movie was a depiction of gang life in Los Angeles, it was the most responsible one that we had because it showed a relationship between a young man and his father at the end of the film won, right? Even fathering as a single parent, the
Hmm.
influence and the impression that he left on his son, whether it was fear based or just the fact that fucking Lawrence Fishburne was that cool of a father that you was like, look, you know what I mean? If Fury Styles was my father, I wouldn't want to motherfucking piss him off either. Because I've heard that narrative played out in real life later on in life because my father represented a furious style figure and he was able to father for other children who did not have fathers in their home. And they will
Hmm.
always be like, yo, your father like furious style, son.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And those children were able to make alternative decisions by just having a role model such as that in their life. He didn't even have to father to them directly. They had him
Hmm.
as a model
Hmm.
based on
Now,
a caricature that they can relate to.
I got a question for you, Blue.
Yes.
Lorenzo in Bronx Tale. Now let's talk about Lorenzo's principles. Oh, the working man is not a sucker. You know what I'm saying? I get up and go to work every day, this, that, and the third. Now, do you know they could have created that with him not having a wife?
Yeah.
He had a wife. No woman was dropping him off. No woman was dropping Colangelo off.
That
It's
that
it's solidified. See, again, bro, the woman is very important because she is part of the hero's journey. All heroes' journeys always consist of the woman. Okay? So look at Lorenzo in the Bronx Tale. His principles held weight because a woman was in that house. We cannot overlook that. That is, again, it's about the subconscious mind. And now when you look at, we're talking about over 70% out of wedlock births in the community, my nigga. Whether that's jumping a broom, Islamic marriages, I don't give a damn. Comedic marriages, whatever kind of marriage you want. When you see two dudes going at it in the street, I guarantee you, I bet you ain't going with his daddy. I bet you his mother and father don't get along. That's some fucked up shit to say, but that's real. Every class, all the classics that were like, oh, yo, the mob movies. Come on, The Godfather. What the Godfather look like not being married?
That narrative is not consistent with those people's story. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. So it wouldn't play like you do. You know, I mean, we all know how scripts were created in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? The majority of them shits are based on something borderline stereotypical because they have to play the audience that already has these things and already has the backboard and their what's the shit? The reticular.
Reticular activating system.
So already the backboard is already there, so they could bank shot as much as they want from the key. Like, what would
So
the Bronx Tale look like with Lorenzo without a mother?
the first of all, the public, the Italian public watching that film would not have accepted it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so why do we accept it?
Because the backboard exists in our reticular.
But in the 50s, 80% of black households was two parents. So we come from that.
Films that we're talking about are not based in the 50s, though. We're talking about post, you know what I'm saying? Post,
Crack.
post crack, post PDF, Negro Family, Daniel Moynihan, Tango Pathology. Like, this is what we're talking about. So, you know what I mean?
But the thing about it is that stops once the black crowd says, I don't like that. Because the thing about it is, look, this is what people don't understand. So some people say, we don't own nothing.
These the niggas that made Medea rich.
Huh?
These the niggas that made Medea rich, bruh.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's another story. You funny. Ah, you was funny. You're a funny dude for that. That was a haymaker. No, look.
That was about to get smart on me. I heard you.
Yeah, you cut me. You cut me down with that. Uh, you made me lose what I was gonna say. That's funny. But what I'm saying is though, man, for real, the culture has to step their standards up of what is acceptable and what's not, and what do you want to see yourself as, and what you want to be. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. So Black Americans run with this narrative. We don't own nothing. We don't own nothing. That is a lie. You own your attention. Now, the owners are the slave to the customers. The owners, the corporation is going to do whatever the customer demands because you control their bottom line. Why do people think it's reverse? Oh, they own the studios, but you own your attention though. If nothing else, you own your attention. So if you don't like those films, you vote with your feet, man. If you don't like anything going on, you vote with your feet. The thing about a parasite, it needs a host, yo. So if you're running around thinking, oh, we don't own that. Yes, you do. What are you talking about? Yes, you do. And this is the thing. This is very interesting to me that in situations the people get very powerless, but talk empowered, meaning I'm original man, I'm from the cosmos, I'm this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. Then if you deal with your problems in the spirit realm, do you own that? Do you own that right there?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Look, if you selling dope, if you selling dope, you need the fiends to come cop. If they don't cop, you out of business. Bing. You feel me? So with films and anything, you have the power. You always did. They lied to you. Your attention is power. Don't give it your attention. It does not exist. They need you. Now they're gonna come back and refigure out their plan because if you don't tune in, then they don't exist.
Facts.
Period. And what I'm saying is, and I grew up on it. Hell, like one of my favorite albums all time is Gangsta and the Gentleman. Styles P killed hella niggas in that shit. You know what I'm saying? I like a lot of nigga shit too. I'm from it. But in hindsight, being objective, this shit is not good for us. It's not good for our mind. It's not good for our self esteem. It's not good to see our. If we're gonna say us and that's what we are, then you need to see yourself as heroic. This look at the interesting thing, my nigga. You got Man of Steel, Captain America. Those two right there. On the black side, you got Blank Man. Now, Black Panther did a great job, right? Black Panther did a great job. But this is how fucked up the culture is. It's like that movie never came out. The shit that happened to Ricky supersedes Black Panther. You know why? Because niggas doing the shit that happened to Ricky every single day. They're not doing Black Panther every day. That's a fact.
Mm.
Because the shit that happened in Black Panther takes self control. It takes planning. It takes intelligence. It takes teamwork. It takes order. And also it takes the black women getting out of niggas' way. What do I mean by that? T'Challa was about to die in the movie, and the women had to stand firm and let the ritual happen. In this culture, you have a culture of women. When the dude's about to go to a rites of passage, she gonna be like, "No, my baby not gonna go. Not my baby. Get the fuck out his way and let him go." Right? So my point is the things that you seen in Boys in the Hood, it happens every day. Niggas do it every single day. The single parent household every day. The killing of Ricky every day. The flexing every day. What's up with the Black Panther? That came out a year ago. I thought it was Wakanda Forever. I thought it was Black Excellence. Outside of entertainment, is no Black Excellence. How do I know? Shade Room still exists. Got 15 million followers. Baller Alert still exists. If you're really on the Wakanda shit, none of that shit exists. If you're really on the Wakanda, there ain't no yelling in the phone going back and forth. If you're really on the Wakanda, when Soldier Boy's acting foolish, you be like, nah, we don't do that over here. That's a black eye. We
Mm.
conduct ourselves a certain kind of way. So the reason,
It went from Okana to Takashi. How about that?
come on, man. So yeah, Boys in the Hood is classic, is because people gonna do that behavior right there. That's what makes it classic. That's what makes it so relatable. Black Panther was just a wave, man. It was just cool. It was just cool for niggas to be entertained. But the Black Panther should have neutralized Ricky. It should have neutralized all that shit, but it didn't. It didn't. It's like the movie never came out.
So you proving my point. You saying that look, Singleton would have been wasting his time to give niggas a fictional backdrop of who and what they could have been, right? Niggas want the shit. Look, give me straight no chaser. Just serve the shit up. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They got boys in the hood. Maybe that's who they are.
Hmm. You believe that?
I don't want to.
What's your first mind say?
I'm 30 years in. I got
Hmm.
more examples in my reticular activating system that says, look, I know more doughboys.
A Blue. See, this is what I'm saying. One of the people in the chat said, you want 400 years of dysfunction to instantly change? And that's the problem because there hasn't been 400 years of destruction. That's an absolute lie. The dysfunction in Black America is new.
Yeah, facts. And I mean, again, we would have to bring them back, to last week's episode right? And we kind of laid it out for you after the Boss PDS documentary. And we walked you all the way up, to where this
Oh,
dysfunction,
okay. Okay. So look. So this is the power.
full fledged
Mhm.
dysfunction in the black community is
Is
post
new.
70s. It's new.
Yeah, it's new, man.
Result of the deterioration of the family dynamic in drugs. All right, that's it. And maybe fucking diet when niggas started eating plastic, putting rubber soles in their shoes and disconnecting from the earth. That's when the dysfunction started at a wholesale level where it became the rule rather than the exception.
How can so these people are saying that the dysfunction now is a result of some slavery shit. If that's the case, then in the early 1900s, how can we say that when the black American family was the moral fiber of America? That's not my opinion. The black American taught the world how to be a good Christian.
Mm.
Dysfunction where? Directly after 1865, you have 2,000 black men participating in Congress, in politics. You have mayors, you have senators. You
Right.
telling me about Black Wall Street? How? I thought everybody, what about the dysfunction? And it ain't just Black Wall Street, it's Rosewood, it's Wilmington, the Harlem Renaissance. Where's the dysfunction? What are y'all talking about? That's a cop out. What you're talking about is post crack.
Facts.
Black Americans ain't been dysfunctional for 100 years. Are you crazy? You have your pockets, but I'm talking about as a whole, as a culture. Are you tripping? Are you bugging? What did you can't have a civil rights generation. You can't have women, grandmothers walking 10 miles in a dysfunctional culture. You can't have everybody on the same page not taking mass transportation in a dysfunctional culture. What you're talking about is post Vietnam, post heroin, and post war on poverty, post welfare state. You're talking about um, the breakdown of the family, believe it or not. Yo, this is a funny thing, Blue. Black people were more likely to have two-parent households than white folks in 1900s.
Mm.
That's not my opinion. Black Americans were more married, more family oriented than white Americans. You know why? Because the white immigrants that came over to America at this particular time were downtrodden, many of them criminals, many of them Europe's waste. There's a book called White Trash. I suggest you pick it up. White people just got like this, and black people just got like this.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 1900s, Blue, who had the hammers? Who had the carpentry jobs? Who had the masonry jobs? And the welders? Who was that?
It was
That was
us.
black. That was black men. While white immigrants were starving. What are you talking about? That is a cop out. They lied to you. And the reason why they tell you that bullshit is so you don't got to be accountable for shit. So they tell you, oh, we ain't always been like this. It was real black excellence before. Are you tripping? We just talked about Jeremiah Hamilton last week, a person in the 1830s that had $7 million that he was put into land. This a black man. We talked about Sarah
Mhm.
Rector.
Yeah.
We talked about Austin Dabney. Stop believing that shit, man.
Let's go into this early, right? Let's jump into this real early. I'm a screen share. I've been waiting to share this with the family. I think this is the perfect segue for it. You heard?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because oftentimes, and I spoke on this, and no one has ever done it. I said, yo, stop speaking on Black Wall Street. I need to hear about names of businesses and people that were behind it. So let's take a look at some of these people and some of these businesses in the midst of dysfunction, right? Alleged dysfunction.
Alleged dysfunction.
Alleged.
Alleged.
Founders of Black Wall Street. And remember what Mama said last week. right? Mama Pill said there were no white tailors. No one was making clothes for melanated people. No such thing existed, right? Just like your ass wasn't going to no hospitals. Okay? So all of this cloth that you see on our family, these are clothes that we were making for us.
Hmm.
Now you can see the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the oil boom of the 1910s, the area of northeast Oklahoma around Tulsa flourished, including the Greenwood neighborhood, which came to be known as the Negro Wall Street, now commonly referred to as Black Wall Street. These photos are courtesy of the Greenwood Cultural Center and the Tulsa Historical Society, right?
Hmm.
Look at your folks, right? Fully figured the shit out. He didn't go to medical school. This wasn't a medical graduate.
Hmm.
You understand, family? This wasn't a medical graduate. This was somebody who took matters into their own hand
Hmm.
and had this shit figured out in their own pharmacy,
Hmm.
drugstore, Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Greenwood, right? Riding clean,
Look
big
at the whip.
wheels. Look at them
Look at
shit
the look at
spinning.
the whip. Look at the whip though.
Look at the Whippington. You feel me?
Dysfunction,
Look at the
huh?
Whippington.
Hmm.
You know what I
Dysfunction.
mean? Little man chilling. Look at her. She's sitting pretty, got her hair did and everything. Homie sharp.
Hmm.
Forget about it. Cut it out. Like, these are your folks. I don't know nothing about the dysfunction rap.
That's a lie.
Homie got wheels. My dude got a plane though. Come on, son. We fell off and we never got back. Look,
And
I don't
yeah,
even
go
know
ahead.
the melanated. I just seen an article the other day with a black theater that opened up in the DMV area.
Mhm.
But they had their own theaters. Theaters just came out in the early 1900s. Read the empire they own.
Hmm.
They had their own joint,
Hmm.
Dreamland Theater.
Hmm.
Come on. You should not believe the hype. Look at my dude.
Hmm.
This shit clean.
Hmm.
Another pharmacy, prescription laboratory, quality drugs, RX.
Hmm.
Where was they getting these certifications from?
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Are these Tuskegee graduates? Like,
Hmm.
where was they getting the credentials to be sitting up here? Come on, I personally feel like, you know, the time zone, the time machine shit in the Avengers wasn't the only time machine. Like, I feel like we all fell in the time machine. How could you go from this to where the fuck we at today? And the concept of evolution being a thing.
Because technically, boo, directly after slavery, shouldn't those people have been dysfunctional? If this was the
Super
if this was
dysfunctional.
if this was the most horrific thing that ever happened to human beings, how the hell did it skip generations and pop up now? But those people didn't have the shit. Those people
They
were
didn't have it.
determined. Those people and just because things happened in society, I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on their resilience and their pivot, their adaptability to change, their adaptability to things going on in the society. The reason why so-called black Americans was catching hell, you were catching hell from immigrant white trash.
Right. Now look, portrait of some of the founders of Mechanics and Farmers Bank, Durham, North Carolina. So they're in ground zero, right?
Hmm.
This is the South South,
Mhm.
right? They're founding banks. Look at them. You couldn't have been 40 or 50 years removed from slavery. This is the early 1900s. Can you see the dysfunction on them?
Yeah, it's dripping. It's dripping off them.
Right? Whereas, no, I could look at a picture today. Let me go to my timeline and I'll show you dysfunction that I can identify with the naked fucking eye. I don't even need to know their backstory.
Hmm.
Look at these niggas. Part of my vernacular. And I'm like, God damn.
Man, they suited and booted.
Suited and booted, clean.
Suited and booted. Real dysfunctional, man. I tell you. That's what that's the face of dysfunction.
The face of dysfunction. Here you go, right here. Right? They were so clean that dysfunction couldn't catch them. It had to jump a few generations because they shit was so sanitized. They was that clean, right? Dysfunction couldn't catch them. I had to jump. Look at them. Right? That was made by us.
Hmm.
So what are we talking about?
Copping out. We want to believe that shit. Copping out. Just so niggas got an excuse to underachieve. Look what all we been through. You don't really want me. You don't really want to go with all we've been through because I'm gonna peel back them black millionaires in the 1800s and then black congressmen and then black families and then black jazz people. Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, straight excellence. Langston Hughes, the Harlem Renaissance. Niggas just now fell.
Right? Say their names. Dr. Olivia Hooker, 100-year-old survivor of the Black Wall Street Massacre, recounts her experience. Nobody says their names.
Hmm.
Nobody speaks about what's the name of the businesses. Why are we not recreating any businesses in the names of these businesses? Because guess what, family? These businesses did not fail because they were burnt down in Tulsa. I'll take you to the article right now. Right? The shit was rebuilt. It failed because of integration.
Hmm.
Look. Right. Right? Black Wall Street burned and then rose from the ashes. I don't know if y'all have done the knowledge to this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I did a whole presentation on it. The
Hmm.
fires is not what killed Tulsa. Tulsa built back in 4 or 5 years. They bounced back. Don't you realize that Greenwood was Wakanda before Wakanda? It's a sweltering May evening in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a local poet named Fatoti Mushari is performing for a crowd of about 3 dozen onlookers. His large black t-shirt is emblazoned with the solemn picture of Barack Obama, the monochrome pattern of the illustration matching the wispy white tendrils flowing out of his dark beard. Above him, two street signs stacked atop each other offer dueling histories of the corner. This is Greenwood Avenue, a sleepy thoroughfare that winds past a new luxury apartment complex through the Oklahoma State University Tulsa campus and into the northern half of the city. But it's also a haven once known as Black Wall Street, the epicenter of African American entrepreneurship and wealth in the early 20th century. Right? Let me get to this. Before its burning, Greenwood Avenue had been lined with hotels, restaurants, furriers, and even an early taxi service using a Ford Model T. This was rotting.
Hmm.
Nearly 200 businesses populated the 35 square block district in all, as did some homes as stately as the ones owned by upper class whites in the city. That was the vision Mashari conjured when he invoked Wakanda, the Afro-futuristic utopian Black Panther. Before it became a nightmare, Black Wall Street was a dream in progress, a symbol of Black success in a turbulent period of racialized violence. Right? I don't know if they're going to get to it. Um, let's get to it. Come on.
All this dysfunction.
Look at them. Look at all that dysfunction.
All that dysfunction.
Right? We not a dysfunction, it's the lack of a clapback.
Mm,
That's what we're suffering from. The lack of redress. Right? The fact that your adversary is gonna motherfucking attack. But what does your clapback look like?
mm,
You know? That shit starts creating all sorts of cankering sores in the
mm,
timeline.
mm,
Stop telling me about what they did to Black Wall Street. Tell me what you did in response.
mm, mm,
I mean, you know, if the shit is burning your heart to this day, this might
mm,
be interesting.
mm,
This goes back to the article we was reading last week about the young lady. Before the place called Greenwood existed, the Black folks in Oklahoma dreamed big. They first arrived with Native Americans on the Trail of Tears in the mid 19th century, both as slaves and as free men. Thanks to treaties negotiated between the United States and Native tribes after the Civil War, many Black people who had been granted citizenship in those tribes were eventually granted large parcels of land, according to Hannibal Johnson's book, Black Wall Street From Riot to Renaissance in Tulsa's historic Greenwood district. So, what you're telling me, according to this narrative, these were people that came directly out of slavery and ended up becoming business owners and ultimately millionaires, and we don't know nobody's name.
mm,
Nobody got a statue built to them. If that shit is not monumental, I don't know what is.
mm,
By pooling their resources and welcoming blacks from the Southeast seeking a better life, they were able to form dozens of all black towns. Dozens
mm,
of all black towns in the region. Okay. It just not was just not, god damn it, uh Black Wall Street. Dozens. And they all ain't get burnt down. So what happened to the rest of them? That's your homework, family.
mm.
Dozens. Bring me some names of businesses and business people. Look, in 1890, Edwin P. McCabe, a politician who founded the all black town of Langston, met with President Benjamin Harrison to pitch the idea of turning the Oklahoma Territory into an all black state.
That's government. That's sovereignty. Real dysfunctional, man. Tell you, these dysfunctional people. Somebody said, "Oh, after 400 years, all this dysfunction, boy." I tell you. Mm, mm, mm,
A
mm,
better moniker for what was going on in Tulsa than Black Wall Street would have been Black Main Street, says Johnson, a Tulsa historian and author of several books about Greenwood. What we're talking about really are sole proprietorship mom and pop businesses,
mm,
things like pharmacies, dry cleaners, haberdasheries, barbershops, beauty shops, movie theaters, pool halls, professional services like doctors, lawyers, dentists, just the kinds of small businesses that make a place vibrant and engaging for folk.
mm,
By
mm,
1921, Greenwood had a high school that taught Latin, chemistry, and physics, a three-story hotel with a chandeliered living room, and a silent movie theater accompanied by live pianists. There were 23 churches, two newspapers, in a public library serving about 11,000 Black residents. What the fuck? The district's most successful entrepreneurs reinvested in the community, building parks and additional housing, right? And the next time that you heard about that shit was with Nipsey Hussle. Come on now. What the fuck is going on?
Oh, this dysfunction, boy, I tell you.
Look, Greenwood also had gambling, prostitution, and drugs. How about it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there was no crackers around. So who you gonna blame now? Dysfunction. There were elegant homes along its most prominent residential avenues, while shanties without running water lined many side streets. This was hardly a utopia. It was bound by the realities of Tulsa's abundance of human vice and its systemic white oppression. But along with prominent Black business districts in Durham, North Carolina, and Richmond, Virginia, the people of Greenwood achieved a level of Black economic success and self-determination that had never existed before in the United States. Less than 60 years removed from slavery, today it remains an aspirational symbol with entrepreneurs and app developers invoking the Black Wall Street name to rally people to support Black-owned businesses. Right? I'm trying to get to the part that we need to really get to. Right? They get through the rumor. Shit gets burnt down. Y'all need to hear that.
I can't believe these people was this messy and this dysfunctional. Lord of mercy.
The revival of Black Wall Street began almost immediately after its burning. Initially, the city of Tulsa promised to help rebuild what its citizens had destroyed. Instead, officials passed an ordinance requiring that new structures in Greenwood be at least 2 stories tall and made of expensive, fireproof materials. It was a naked attempt to price Black residents out of their own community. But a trio of local lawyers, including John W. Franklin's grandfather, B.C. Franklin, filed a lawsuit against the city. Quick thinking. They worked out of a tent in the burnt out business district and eventually brought the case to the state Supreme Court, which deemed the ordinance unconstitutional. By the end of 1921, Greenwood residents had rebuilt more than 800 structures in the neighborhood. By June 22, virtually all of the area's homes had been replaced. And by 1925, the National Negro Business League was holding its annual conference in Tulsa, indicating the Black Wall Street stature as economic force had been restored. Stop with the blood clot crying. Because nobody tells this part of the fucking story, right? They get you riled up in victimhood. Nobody tells you about the resilience of these people to build their shit back in a 4 or 5 year span. Okay? Over the ensuing decades, Greenwood continued to thrive. More than 240 businesses populated the area by the early 1940s. Musicians such as Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington played the neighborhood's jazz clubs. Greenwood is something more than an avenue, it is an institution. The district's Chamber of Commerce declared in 1941. The people of Tulsa have come to regard it as a symbol of racial prominence and progress, not only for the restricted area of the street itself, but for the Negro section of Tulsa as a whole. But even as Greenwood prospered again, the riot morphed into forgotten lore. No one learned about it in school, and at home, some Black families chose to bury the trauma rather than expose it to their offspring. So they birthed a whole new generation that wasn't even programmed with this trauma. But look, you niggas 80 years later is traumatized by the story that they wasn't even motherfucking participating in. And they use that as an excuse not to build no more out of fear. Could you fucking believe this?
Oh my God.
Can you believe this? They wanted to give the children a fighting chance, so they buried the trauma, right? And just exposed them to the fact that the fucking community was flourishing, okay? And then these niggas unearthed the shit however many decades later, and they want to constantly use this as an excuse for why black people can't get forward and do nothing or build a goddamn thing, right? The fuck out of here.
Because Blue, this the thing. If you talk about that part right there, niggas don't have no excuse. If you talk about the fact that they built it up, look in the chat. I ain't been there in a minute in the chat. I had to leave it because it was too crazy. But it was people, oh, what we been through, and and I'm like, yo, this narrative of victimhood did not exist with old black people. It didn't, bro.
They couldn't.
They see what they was up against, and they made it happen. But this the thing though. I want to know what makes black people think they're so unique outside of nature. Everything in nature is struggling and competing for resources. Black people have this thing in there, just leave us alone. No, it doesn't work like that. What thing in nature gets left the fuck alone? Talk to me. What species is not competing for survival on this planet?
Hmm. Everything is.
Everything is. People want to live in this utopia where and this is the thing. George Fraser talks about this. The black Americans need to feel good. Black people want to feel good. And if you step on their toes of feeling good, it's a problem. Now, here's the ill thing. Telling these stories about Black Wall Street, oppression, 400 years systematic racism, that makes niggas feel good. Until you start peeling back the layers. And you're like, hold a minute. If those people didn't say this and they accomplished more than you with less, you got to shut the fuck up. I ain't trying to hear that shit. What if not in your situation because of systematic oppression? What if you're just a slouch? What if you just can't cut it? You ever thought of that? What if the niggas that's saying this shit, what if you represent the bottom half of the race? And I'm not talking about in money, I'm talking about in intelligence, I'm talking about in wherewithal, I'm talking about in charisma, I'm talking about in ideals. What if natural selection just needs to come and visit you? because it's two things, Blue, that saves niggas: the devil and white supremacy. Because of these two, you always have a fallback. Well, you know what? I didn't make it. I didn't do nothing with my life. It's white supremacy. But you just said in this that they not only rebuilt it, they rebuilt it bigger and better.
Bigger and better.
No one never talks about that.
Yeah.
No one never talks about that.
Yeah. Let me finish this shit.
Shoot.
It was not fire that permanently hobbled Black Wall Street, but concrete. Today, an interstate overpass bisects Greenwood Avenue, separating what was once the core of the business district from the rest of the neighborhood. Urban renewal projects in the 60s and 70s transformed inner city neighborhoods around the country, morphing them from self contained communities to haphazard highway exits. On the southern side of the overpass, just half a block of the former Black Wall Street structure remained, filled with a few small Black-owned businesses, a hair salon, a soul food restaurant, a neighborhood chamber of commerce that was closed every time I tried to visit. To the north is the Oklahoma State University campus, and just west is the Driller Stadium, institutions that benefit Tulsa broadly, but not Black Tulsa specifically. Tulsans are now trying to use the highway to keep the spirit of Black Wall Street alive. On June 1st, local officials held a dedication ceremony for a new mural painted on the side of the overpass in the parking lot of the Greenwood Cultural Center. The mural, which spells out Black Wall Street in a cartoony, bubbly font, tells a different story in each of its letters. The B depicts a beloved movie theater that was burnt down during the attack, and the L across from the church that still sits across the street. Dozens of people, whatever. You know, bottom line is they are explaining in this narrative, which can be duplicated in other communities where they had melanated business districts, is that they brought the highways in, which they always do. This is the story of Detroit. This is the story in New York. They created fucking hip hop when they did it in the Bronx. This is the story in Los Angeles that created the Crenshaw district. Okay, this is what they always do.
And Compton. Don't forget
In
Compton.
Compton, okay, it's the fucking highways. It's the city planning. They strategized and created 100-year plan that's still being implemented
Mhm.
today. You know what I'm saying? And what they have yet to receive is a response to it. Okay? A response, a calculated response that requires a think trust to say this is going to be our answer to that. But now the shit is digital. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's the answer that we have been overlooking that we ain't figured out yet. If you could do business in the clouds,
Hmm.
oh, I got more though. I was speaking about this on the last episode, right? And now I got it pulled up in the LA Times. That's a credible news source, ain't it?
Hmm.
Right? Here goes the program. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Know the Ledge Radio. And for the family that's listening to us on YouTube and shit, and you're not a KTL alumni, you had a great disservice because you missed 7 years of some of the best fucking radio, hands down. Period. So go into the archive and check this program out. Know the Ledge Radio presents the curious case of Anderson Willis. Who's Anderson Willis, you ask? Let's go to the LA Times. Descendants of slaves charged swindle by Texas whites. Long quest harvests a tale of lost land. Growing up in rural East Texas in the 1930s, Jeanette Atkins often heard her father describe how unknown white men had swindled the family out of most of the huge swath of land that her great grandfather, a former slave, had settled here after the Civil War. It was a tale told with resignation. Right? A black in Texas, one relative philosophized, was like a man with a shotgun and no shells. He can't shoot. Atkins eventually married and left Texas for the San Fernando Valley and then Gardena, where she ran beauty shops and raised 3 children, but she could never shake the ghost of her great grandfather, Anderson Willis. She was approaching middle age when she and her sister, Lorraine Watson of Dallas, decided to try to nail down a legend once and for all. Not for money, but because this was our heritage, Atkins explained. But what began as a simple search of public records soon turned into a giant historical jigsaw puzzle. Atkins began flying back to Dallas 3 and 4 times a year, then driving 80 miles south to spend weeks at a time pouring over thousands of deeds, liens, and lawsuits in the Freestone County Courthouse. Right? Give me 1 second. It took a better part of a decade before the sisters became convinced that the family stories were true. The Anderson Willis land had been stolen with a pencil, and that some of it had wound up in the hands of some of Freestone County's more prominent white citizens. Armed with boxes of photocopied documents, they persuaded a skeptical Dallas lawyer to file a federal civil rights suit against the county and 2 dozen property owners. And this summer, 14 years after she started trying to unravel the mystery, Jeanette Atkins expects to fly once again to Texas, headed this time for U.S. District Court in Waco. There she will watch her attorney argue that 2,986 acres of softly sloping, mostly vacant pasture land, including a family cemetery, now fenced and gated shut by the current owner, should be deeded back to the Willises. The case has attracted support from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, a national civil rights group that characterizes it as an example of how land was taken from blacks throughout the South by unscrupulous whites who controlled land records and courts in the days of segregation. According to the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund, which offers legal assistance to rural black landowners, such fraud is one of the reasons why black ownership of farmland in the United States has fallen from 16 million acres in the 1930s to 4.5 million acres today. Atkins, and it's 1 million now. This was back in the days when this article was written. Okay, it's 1 million now. Atkins, an energetic 63-year-old grandmother with a patient manner and a soft, articulate voice, has won praise for her doggedness, a strong commitment. I've never seen anyone more committed in a case like this, said E. Randall T. Osborne, SCLC's director of affiliate chapters. Jeanette and Lorraine stayed with this when everyone else in the family had given up, said Bill Willis, a cousin who lives in Dallas. The whole family owes them a big debt, right? The lawsuit is a legal long shot. For one thing, it was filed long after Texas's 25-year statute of limitations had expired. For another, the family has never been able to find deeds showing that Anderson Willis bought the land the Willises lived on. And finally, the suit fails to accuse specific individuals of specific misdeeds. It merely states that certain white citizens defrauded Anderson Willis at a time when blacks in Texas were subjected to a system of divestment and terrorism. Nevertheless, to the Williams family, the suit is a cathartic explosion with as much symbolic power as Roots, the chronicle of African genealogy that Alex Haley began writing in the same year that Atkins and Watkins started their research. Win or lose, this will do something to right the injustice, Atkins said recently as she walked across the reed choke clearing where Anderson Willis once lived, near where she was born. These are our roots. Alex Haley was able to go back to Africa. We cannot go back that far. Our history stops at Anderson Willis. The least we should try to do for him is to rectify a wrong he wasn't able to do anything about. So, um, trying to see if they get into anything about Anderson Willis specifically.
Blue, can I say something real quick, bro?
Yeah,
I want to point out that because I've seen a few things in the chat just pop my head in that what we're talking about even last week, these are not outliers. What people have to understand is the real Black America comes from success. How is a Black Wall Street an outlier? How is Durham an outlier? So what people
dozens, dozens of others
dozens
just
and
in
I got
just in Oklahoma. We ain't talking about around the country.
and I got names too. These are not outliers. Black Americans have been doing the damn thing in America since the shit started. I told you about Austin Dabney last week in the 1700s. Richard Allen in the 1700s. Black people have had homes, money, millions of dollars. This is not the outlier. This new shit is the outlier.
Facts.
What I'm telling you, and the thing about it is, yo, all you gotta do is do your homework and stop letting these people lie to you. They're lying to you. They're playing on your self-esteem so they can sell you a fucking DVD, yo.
Yeah,
They're
black
playing
people
on your
with nothing.
self-esteem.
That's new. That's a fucking outlier. How does Ladera Heights exist? How does View Park exist? How does fucking Baldwin Hills exist? How do all of them communities in Dallas exist? And everywhere else you go, how does Strivers Row exist? How does Sugar Hill exist? How do
Facts.
fucking nannies with brownstones up in Harlem and all through New York exist? How?
Facts.
What are you talking about?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Don't buy the. So look, this is what they did. They created the now the matrix, what I call create. What they did was they put the degenerate niggas on the top, and the degenerate niggas start being the leaders of Black Americans. That is the truth. When you look at when you look at Black America in the 1900s, and you look, it wasn't judged from bottom up; it was judged from top down. Adam Clayton Powell, W.E.B. Du Bois, Madam C.J. Walker, Marcus Garvey. These people have intellect. Okay. After the war on poverty with the welfare state, what they did was take the retarded niggas and make the retarded niggas the blueprint for Black America. And what they did was make the brilliant Black Americans the enemy. You call them coons. And Blue, you read the Manningham report a few weeks ago. That is confirmation of that. So they did it upside down. They gave you the crack babies and said follow them, but then it gave it when it looks at the intelligentsia. Oh, they're the coons. Why? Because they tell you pull your pants up, nigga. I mean, technically, sagging pants does look broke.
Hmm.
It does though. Technically, you didn't like Dolores Tucker, but now when we look at it, damn, she was kind of telling the truth. We should have nipped the shit in the bud right there. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. We should have nipped that shit in the bud right now, right there. We allowed thug culture to run rampant. We all got caught up in it, and it ate us the fuck up. And so, meanwhile, when you see a Black person who's zero tolerance for fuck shit and has something to say about the way we live, you call him a coon. You call him a coon. But he's a successful father. He's respected. He's a businessman. He owns shit. He's responsible. Why is he a coon? Because he does not condone. Yo, the thing about it is, white culture does not condone degenerate cracker behavior. They let niggas have it. They don't fuck with that though. You want to know my proof? The Kardashians. The Kardashians are rich as hell. Do you ever see them in pictures with other high society people?
Hell
No, you
no.
do not. They take pictures with basketball players and rap niggas. You see them with Bill Gates. You see them with Warren Buffett. You see them with Larry Page. You see them with top financiers in the world. No, you do not. You see them with the Koch brothers. No,
Is
no,
Black
you do.
Kylie ringing the bell on Wall Street?
Fact.
She got $1 billion, don't she? They like, bitch, your money ain't good here. You
You know,
trash.
you know what I'm saying? So this is the thing, and this is not the outlier. This is Black society. It's the Black men that influenced the mob to dress like that. Yo, Duke
Hmm.
Ellington and Cab Calloway, they were setting the tone. Black people have always set the tone. Where are y'all getting these stories of niggas doing bad? Now ask yourself, look who's teaching you that shit. Now let's go back to movies real quick, bro. Now I'll let you take over. This is the power of movies. It's the movies that make you think Black people were fucked up.
Hmm.
It's the movies, man. The movies make you think niggas always been in this bad situation. But if I start running through these names, there's no movies on these people. There's no movie on Richard Allen, yo. There's no Ida B. Wells movie, yo. There is no Marcus Garvey film.
Hmm. Reginald Lewis.
Reginald Lewis. Because once you make these films, it's going to blow this ideal of
Yo,
black.
My business partner was telling me about the dude today, the on the Super Soaker. Said he got over 200 patents. He's still alive. He's doing business to this very day. He got offices here. He got incubators, I think, here in the city of Atlanta. Nobody talk about him.
Mm.
He's sitting pretty.
But that shines a light on the rest of the people. See, this is the thing. The yo, who this is the
But
thing.
they talk
What
about him like he's from the 90s. I thought he was
hey,
dead, son.
hey Blue, I got a question for you. I got a question for you. What political party benefits the most from blacks thinking like this?
Democrats.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Democrats.
oh, okay. Over and over and over again. It's the Democratic Party. And didn't Malcolm X warn us about these people in the Ballot of the Bullet? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna ask the people in the chat. Did Malcolm X warn us about fucking white liberals in the Ballot of the Bullet? It is white liberals that got niggas thinking this shit right here. It's white liberals, straight up, period. Because let me tell you what it does. If you remember the movie, remember the Titans. What white liberals do is they massage the back of black people instead of giving them the real shit. You see how the dude was talking to Petey? Petey was fucking up. The white boy, the white man came was, oh, it's all right. But he ain't gonna coach them other white boys like that. He gonna pacify the black boy and tell him it's all right when it's not fucking all right. And these white liberals come through with these with these. Come on, bro. First of man, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead.
Look,
Just shit off.
yeah, look. This is the thing, and this is the big secret. Once you find out that holy shit, from since time started, niggas been on top. It highlights your own life and says, well, what the fuck am I doing? Because as long as we think, oh, for 400 years we've been downtrodden, then we have an excuse not to be shit. But when we start digging up history, bro, we find out everything they told us was a lie. Now, is life have its difficulties? Of course, man. Of course. Of course. But these stories is not outliers. This is the norm. This is the norm. Understand, yo, get the book called White Trash. The book White Trash is so important because it shows the it shows, put it like this, the white immigrants were coming to America in the early 1900s. They were starving to death. You don't hear stories of black people starving to death, yo.
Mm-mm.
You don't hear that shit. You do
You don't,
not
you don't see them
see
looking emaciated.
nothing.
None of that.
Nothing. Even in the Great Depression, what did what did black people do in the Great Depression? They produced. You know why? Because they had the hammers. They had the carpentry skills. They had the seamstress skills. Black people had skills, man.
And then had
That's
money in the bank.
facts. What the hell? Black people had so much skills. That's why they was doing the union shit because niggas had all the money. Niggas had all the money. Now, there's a lecture on YouTube. It's called Slaves with Swag. This shit is so powerful because the dude in there used newspaper clippings, right? Because someone in the chat said did slavery exist? They did slavery did exist. But have you ever heard of slaves with money? Have you ever heard of slaves that loan their so-called masters money?
Right. Yeah.
You never heard of that, huh? See, you think of you when you think of slavery, you think of, oh my God, all these whips and shit. Where'd you get that from? Movies. Where did you get that imagery from? Because Frederick Do you have any Frederick Douglass books? What's your oldest book that you have? Where did you get the image of how black people live? It's from movies. That's how powerful the cinema is, where your brain thinks exactly that's what the fuck it happened. Take roots away from the game. What do you know about slavery?
Hmm.
I'm gonna say that again. Take roots away. What do you know about slavery? You know,
Cricket.
crickets. See, when you put that film there, Blue, that film programs the subconscious mind, bro, and these people think this is what's going on. But how can you believe this? And these are the same people that control time. They control time. Look at our calendar. So
Um,
if our time is off, how the fuck can you tell me about history and our time is off? We start a new day at night, man. Come on, what the hell?
God damn.
The time is off. So this shit is weird to me. But what it is people want to believe it because what they did is they created a new people that respond off trauma and dysfunction. So people want to believe that shit. But when you listen to that lecture, Slaves with Swag, and they got newspaper articles to back it up. Now I got a name for you, boo. Whenever you get done yours, I got a woman, a black entrepreneurial woman that I know many people haven't heard about. So you let me know when you're ready.
Let me finish this.
Hmm.
He said, I'd rather be in a pit with 20 rattlesnakes than tangle with the Anderson Willis group, Gage told the judge. Of Anderson Willis himself, little is known. According to stories handed down through the Willis family, he was born in Virginia to parents brought from Africa and sold to an owner in Alabama as a young man. After the Civil War in his mid 50s, he made his way to Texas, bringing with him an unusual amount of money. A chest of gold is the way Atkins remembered hearing it. He began buying land in Freestone County in 1869, according to one of the documents Atkins found, in an era in which only 1 in 100 blacks owned property in Texas, and even the most prosperous blacks owned no more than a few hundred acres. Atkins had been told that her great grandfather purchased enough land to create large home sites for 12 children and himself. But in her research, she found that Freestone County records showed him paying taxes on only 412 acres. Certainly, she thought, remembering her childhood on the expansive land marked by red clay roads and elm, willow, and pine trees, he owned more than that. She and her sister visited the State General Land Office in Austin and began checking other records and saw the Willis name appearing more frequently. Still, the records just didn't match up with what we knew, she said. We knew he had more land than that. A formal survey of the traditional boundaries of the Willis land, as remembered by 82-year-old Calvis Willis, a great grandson who still lives on the land, measured the property at 2,986 acres. Right? Let me put this in perspective, family. Black Wall Street is built on 40 acres. 40. Okay? He had 2,000, let's just say he had 3,000 acres.
Hmm.
The most the sisterhood could find associated with Anderson Willis was 732 acres. Right? So they erased him out of history literally with an eraser. Right? Highway robbery with a pencil. Defense attorneys say that because Anderson Willis probably squatted on most. Come on, fuck out of
Hmm.
here. I mean, this just goes on to show how they robbed and steal and cook you with the records. You know what I'm saying? These people are paper gangsters.
Hmm.
They're paper gangsters,
Hmm.
right? But this was all right because I did the interview. Let's go back to it. Right, Know the Ledge Radio 8 years ago. Do you see this? It says 8 years ago. You can go in the archives. You can listen to it. Okay. In lieu of the Gulf Coast disaster, we present to you the curious case of Anderson Willis, an Ethiopian freeman who purchased upwards of 3,000 acres of land in rural Texas with gold bars in the 1800s before the Emancipation Proclamation. His
Man.
oil-rich holdings have become the root of controversy, with the family fighting to get property back from Texas power brokers who used forged documents to steal land worth trillions.
Mm.
Okay, because this land has oil underneath it, and the mineral rights alone value this land at $1 trillion. They have all of the oil companies are already set up on this land, and they pump from the shit and give checks. They send checks in the mail to the family,
All that
right?
dysfunction.
The
All that
Willis land
dysfunction.
is where Rockefeller formed Standard Oil, which ultimately became BP. Here,
Mm.
firsthand accounts of the murderous, treacherous regime that these oil companies have always been, and some insightful info on this ancient Moorish elder that defies all logic. Okay?
Mm.
8 years ago, go check the archive. It will blow your mind. The real story. Okay? What did that say? That's where Standard Oil was formed on this land. You're talking about the Rockefeller fortune.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So yeah, you said you got somebody that you wanna
Oh
introduce.
yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So this is going to continue the narrative that we was talking about last week of these amazing black people. Now, mind you, let me qualify this. I'm not saying that things are peachy. This what makes the contributions even better. The fact that they did it in a more harsh environment than niggas do now. Shit is sweet for niggas now. I don't give a fuck. This shit is sweet, dude.
Mm.
This shit is sweet. For real, all you gotta do is mind your business and stay out the way, nigga. You can live a good life. And if somebody says, well, what about the police? Nigga, you got a better chance of getting struck by lightning. Based on the numbers, you actually have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than getting shot by a cop. That's not my opinion. It's 45 million niggas. 45. There has never been a time period where 1% of the population gets killed by police. Blue, you heard what I said?
You said what?
There's never been a time where 1% of black people are killed by the police a year.
Mm.
It's 45 million. In 2017, it was 300, like 350 black people that got killed by the police out of 45 million. Now, why am I highlighting that? Because when I compare that to global statistics in terms of law enforcement and civilians, yo, you'll take America's problems any day. You don't want no smoke with the police from Brazil, the police from Nigeria, the KGB, the Gestapo, the police in Asia. American police are the sweetest police in the world. Sweet.
Oh, they get busy in Brazil.
They getting busy in Brazil.
And
Hey, Blue,
that's daily activity.
My nigga, I've been locked up, my nigga. Let me tell you what I had in my trunk, and I gotta say this. This was crazy when people I see America through a whole different lens. This shit is like a pussy just waiting to be fucked. I swear to God, like I just want to get filthy rich and then just help my niggas and just live life, right? America's so sweet that even in jail, this is what I had: cupcakes, cookies, chips, fucking coffee, nigga, letters to write, um, phone time. I got my teeth cleaned in jail. I got glasses in jail. I got my blood checked and the physical in jail, nigga. I was at the library. We had movies and shit. That's that's American jail. I They serve food 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, you eat. Why when niggas come home from jail they look so good?
Eating.
Why he look good? Shouldn't he be stressed out,
Shriveled up,
shriveled up?
emaciated. He needs to be
Yo,
swole,
I,
preserved.
I was in Arizona one time, Blue. I drove. Look, I was driving a white SL Mercedes Benz drop top, old edition, old body, '96. Right, it was an old body. I'm downtown Phoenix. I drove in a wrong way. A cop sees me, white cop, him and his partner. I was like, ah man, my fault, man. I drove down the wrong way. How come the cop didn't kill me? He said, ah man, don't worry about it. It's a white cop, right? I can't speak for Mike Brown. I don't know Mike Brown. That's his story. That's his legend. Him and that cop is connected some way, somehow throughout time. They always find each other. Sorry. I deal in metaphysics, right? Another time I'm driving, nigga, I had no license. The car had no insurance, no registration, and I had a traffic violation. A white cop comes to the car. I got my hand on 10 o'clock, right? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm just going to tell you the truth. I ain't got no license. He's like, oh, just like that? I'm like, yeah, man, I ain't even going to waste your time. I ain't got no license, bro. I'm going right over here to this barbershop, but I ain't got no license and it's all good. He said, you got anything in the car? I was like, nah, man, I don't got nothing in the car. He said, all right, man, just let me check you out for warrants. He came back like, oh, yeah, your license is suspended. This white cop, true story. He says, you know what? I'm going to look the other way. I can't speak for everybody else, but because you was cool to me, man, go ahead down the street, man. I just be safe, be careful. He told me to be careful. That's my experiences, right? Now, I can't inherit Mike Brown's experience. That's his experiences, just like no one can handle my experiences. If you tell me what about Eric Gardner, I'm gonna say, well, what about this? If you say what about Trayvon Martin, I'm gonna say, well, what about this? Because in nature, it's always this and that. It's people coming and it's people going. Period. Right? Just had to set the tone for that because just the narratives of no matter what niggas want to hurt, bro. You say this, they'll say that. Right? You say this, they'll say that. But let's get into this the extraordinary person right here, Blue. Her name is Mary Ellen Pleasant.
Am I pulling her up?
Yeah, pull her up. Mary Ellen Pleasant. Sister, let's see about Mary Ellen Pleasant and why we don't know about Mary Ellen Pleasant. How is that possible?
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen Pleasant. Yes, sir. Mary Ellen Pleasant.
Mm.
Here we go. Here we go with the real. This is the real Black America. The junkies and the fiends and the crate. That's not the real Black America. This is the real Black America. Let's get into Mary Ellen Pleasant, bro.
Mary Ellen Pleasant, August 19th, 1814, January 4th, 1904, was a successful 19th century American entrepreneur, financier, real estate magnate, and abolitionist whose life is shrouded in mystery. God
Hey Blue, can you start it over again, man? It just got these words attached to it, man. Just start this over again, bro, please.
damn. Oh man, I gotta make room on the altar.
Mary Ellen Pleasant. Here go another one.
Mary Ellen Pleasant, born August 19th, 1814, transitioning January 4th, 1904, was a successful 19th century American entrepreneur. It's funny they say Black American, right?
Mm, American.
American,
Right. Mhm.
right? They're gonna claim you.
Hmm.
American entrepreneur, financier,
Hmm.
real estate magnate,
Hmm.
and abolitionist
Hmm.
whose life is shrouded in mystery.
Hmm.
She identified herself as a capitalist by profession
Wow.
in the 1890 United States Census. She was nicknamed Mammy Pleasant in San Francisco because of the many years she spent in servitude. The press also called her Mammy Pleasant, but she did not approve, stating, I don't like to be called Mammy by everybody. Put that down. I am not Mammy to everybody in California. I received a letter from a pastor in Sacramento. It was addressed to Mammy Pleasant. I wrote back to him on his own paper that my name was Mrs. Mary E. Pleasant. I wouldn't waste any of my paper on. God damn it! Come on, son.
Come on, bro.
Come on, son.
How look how she's lining these people up. Like, put some respect
Come
on
on.
my name, yo.
She's like, I'm not even gonna waste no paper on this nigga. I'm gonna write you back on the back sheet of your own letter. Say, address me properly.
Right.
Put some respect on my name. Now, we would talk about Birdman saying that shit, make a meme out of that.
Hmm.
But this sister can't even get an honorable mention. Like, I've never seen a meme of her for Black History Month, right? And these bitches is on Instagram twerking
Hmm.
for likes
Hmm.
and showing a butthole.
Hmm.
But she identified herself by a capitalist by
As a
profession
capitalist, right? Mary L's.
in 1890.
Hmm.
No, we there's something else going on with black folk.
They lying. But then when I say they're lying, I'm a coon and I'm an agent. But how the hell do I know all these fire ass black people? I'm a coon.
Her autobiography, published in San Francisco's Pandex of the Press in January 1902, she stated her mother was a full-blooded Louisiana negress and her father was a native Kanaka, Hawaiian. And when she was 6 years of age, she was sent to Nantucket to live with a Quaker woman named Hussey. She worked on the Underground Railroad across many states and then helped bring it to California during the gold rush era. Wait, what?
Hmm.
Wait, what?
Hmm.
She was a friend and financial supporter of John Brown
Hmm.
and was well known in abolitionists. Somebody get motherfucking, what's his name? Umar Johnson on the phone.
Hmm.
After the Civil War, she took her battles to the court in the 1860s and won several civil rights victories. What are you talking about? Oh God.
Hmm.
The black people is in bad shape today.
Today, the great lie.
Like, they didn't say that she was a lawyer. And all of these cases, they don't say that these people is lawyers, but they going to court, getting wins, going all the way to Supreme Courts and shit like that. How?
In the oppressive,
And
so-called oppressive of
yeah,
society, right?
yeah, you can't even go to court. You literally can't be heard by a judge, allegedly, but they going up in there and getting victories that are not spoken of in public.
Hmm.
Let me read that again. After the Civil War, she took her battles to the courts in the 1860s and won several civil rights victories, one of which was cited and upheld in the 1980s and resulted in her being called the mother of human rights. California.
Hmm.
Huh?
Mary L's.
Pleasant made contradictory claims about her earliest years, and her exact origin remains unclear. Her birth date is known to be August 19th, but the year is in dispute. I really ain't gonna get into that. Whoa, hold on. Let's get into it. Her gravestone at Tula Cay Cemetery in Napa, California states 1812, although most sources list her birth as 1814. In one version of her memoirs dictated to her goddaughter Charlotte Downs, she claims she was born a slave to a voodoo priestess and John Hampton Pleasants, youngest son of Governor of Virginia James Pleasants. In any case, she showed up in Nantucket, Massachusetts circa 1827 as a 10 to 13-year-old bonded servant to a storekeeper, Grandma Hussey. She worked out her bondage, then became a family member and lifelong friend of Hussey's granddaughter, Phoebe Hussey Gardner. The Husseys were deeply involved in the abolitionist movement, and Pleasant met many of the famous abolitionists. So wait, an abolitionist had slaves? I don't get it. I know how to read. You know what I'm saying? I have a comprehension in reading. Like you just told me this person and their family were historical abolitionists, but she was a bonded servant. Is a bonded servant not a slave? Is it something different? I don't know. Oh, anyway. With the support of the Hussey Gardeners, she often passed as white. Right? It's the second time we're hearing this. Right? Even though the last time the melanated millionaire sister was very heavily melanated. So her passing, or they said her status was changed to white so she could ride on the train, thus showing you that the racial designation is not back then what it is today. It was social economical terms based on somebody's status because they clearly talking to you, telling you about the census, right? At that time. Pleasant married James Smith, a wealthy flower contractor and plantation owner who had freed his slaves and was able to pass as white. She worked with Smith as a slave stealer on the Underground Railroad until his death about 4 years later.
Hold on. He was able to pass as white? Hold up.
Wait, yeah.
Hold on. Rewind.
With the support of the Hussey Gardeners, she often passed as white. Pleasant married James Smith, a wealthy flower contractor and plantation owner who had freed his slaves and was also able to pass as white. So I mean, he wasn't white. But he was a wealthy flower contractor and a plantation owner.
Right.
And he wasn't white.
Right.
And it was since they was freeing slaves, this was before Emancipation Proclamation. She worked with Smith as a slave stealer on the Underground Railroad until his death about 4 years later.
Okay, time out, pause. So this tells me that this person was caked up and his having slaves, he bought them to free them. Because if he later then participates in freeing slaves, that shows you the character of this person. That they were perceived as slaves on his land, but he bought them to save them.
Could be.
I mean, that lines up. But anyway, this is a nigga though. Either way, this is a black man. And he's balling though. Yo, this is crazy, man.
All right. They transported slaves to northern states such as Ohio and even as far as Canada. Smith left instructions and money for her to continue to work after his death. Pleasant is in turn by many historians looked to as the Harriet Tubman of California. Right? But nowhere in this initial diatribe is it talking about her freeing slaves anywhere in California. She's on the East Coast doing this shit.
Hmm.
She began a partnership with John James J.J. Pleasance circa 1848. Although no official records exist of their marriage, it was probably conducted by their friend Captain Gardner, Phoebe's husband, aboard his boat. Maritime, huh?
Hmm.
They continued Smith's work for a few more years, when increasing attention from slavers forced to move to New Orleans. J.J. Pleasance appears to have been a close relative of Mary LaVue's husband, and there is some indication that Pleasant and LaVue met and consulted many times before Pleasant left New Orleans by boat for San Francisco in April 1852. Oh, Mary LaVue's, right? She's the famous voodoo priestess.
Hmm.
Um, JJ had gone ahead and written back that the area seemed promising for the Underground Railroad. When Mary Ellen arrived in San Francisco, she passed as white, using her first husband's name among the whites, and took jobs running exclusive men's eating establishments, starting with the Heiser. She met most of the founders of the city as she catered lavish meals, and she benefited from the tidbits of financial gossip and deals usually tossed around the tables. She engaged a young clerk, Thomas Bell, at the Bank of California, and they began to make money based off her tips and guidance. Thomas made money of his own, especially in Quicksilver, and by 1875, they had amassed a $30 million fortune. Yo, son.
All right. Hmm.
Wait, this was before Madam C.J. Walker, B. Somebody get a timeline out. Wait.
Right. All this dysfunction, though, right? These
Between
are.
J.J., who had worked with Mary Ellen from the slave stealing days to the civil rights court battles of the 1860s and 70s, died in 1877 of diabetes. Mary Ellen did not conceal her race from other blacks and was adept at finding jobs for those brought in by Underground Railroad activities. Some of the people she sponsored became important black leaders in the city. She left San Francisco from 1857 to 1859 to help John Brown. She was said to have actively supported his cause with money and work. There was
Hmm.
a note from her in his pocket when he was arrested after the Harper's Ferry Armory incident, but as it was only signed with the initials MEP, which were misread as WEP, she was not caught. She returned to San Francisco to continue her work there, where she was known as the Black City Hall.
Mm.
After the Civil War, Pleasant publicly changed her racial designation in the city directory from white to black, causing a little stir amongst some whites. She began a series of court battles to fight laws prohibiting blacks from riding trolleys and other abuses. So once again, we see what?
Hmm.
She changed her status.
Hmm.
Okay? She changed her status.
Hmm.
Hmm. This is amazing, bro.
Amazing.
I mean,
They
all
just
of this shit deserves, every last one that we have spoken on deserves their own movie.
right. And hey, Blue, this is a common theme.
Oh, wait, wait. Okay.
Shoot.
Posthumous recognition. Pleasant has been featured and mentioned in several works of fiction, right? Michelle Cliff's 1993 book, Free Enterprise, is subtitled A Novel of Mary Ellen Pleasant and features her abolitionist activities. The ghost of Mary Ellen Pleasant is a character in the 1997 novel Earthquake Weather by Tim Powers. Karen Joy Fowler's historical novel Sister Noon, published in 2001, features Peasant as a central character and Thomas Bell and Teresa Bell as secondary characters. Pleasant has also been discussed in film and television. The 2008 documentary Mary Pleasant covered her life, and a segment of a 2013 episode of the Comedy Central series Drunk History covered Pleasant's life. Pleasant was portrayed by Lisa Bonet. Hmm,
Mm.
interesting.
So we talked about a millionaire last week, Jeremiah Hamilton. Sarah Rector was caked up. Austin Dabney, how much land he had? 500 acres, some stupid shit, right?
Yeah,
Mary Ellen Pleasant is consider herself a capitalist,
yeah, with 30 mil.
right? She married a black man that had slaves. It said he was already wealthy. This is in the 1800s.
All right, then we got Anderson Willis, 300 acres bought with gold bars in Texas amongst the cowboys in the 1800s. Hmm?
But watch this diversity, Blue. I got one more for you. Watch how this is not an outlier at all, but this is the real Black American. This gentleman's name is Matthew Henson, man.
Matthew, what?
Henson.
This sounds familiar.
Matthew Henson, man.
Is it the brother that went to the North Pole?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's my guy. My guy.
Black explorer. How about it?
Yeah, I know about him.
How
You
about
ready?
it? Yes, sir.
Matthew Alexander Henson, August 8th, 1866,
Hmm.
March 9th, 1955. Was an American explorer. Yo, they never say Black American. Hmm. Was an American explorer who accompanied Robert Perry on several voyages to the Arctic over a period of nearly 23 years. They spent a total of 18 years on expeditions together. He is best known for his participation in the 1908 to 1909 expedition that claimed to have reached the geographic North Pole on April 6, 1909. Henson said he was the first of their party to reach the pole. Henson was born in Nanjamoy, Maryland, to sharecropper parents who were free people of color before the Civil War. He spent most of his early life in Washington, D.C., but left school at the age of 12 to work as a cabin boy. He later returned to Washington and worked as a sales clerk at a good department store. One of his customers was Robert Perry, who in 1887 hired him as a personal valet. At the time, Perry was working on the Nicaragua Canal. Their first Arctic expedition together was 1891 to 1892. Henson served as a navigator and craftsman and was known as Perry's first man. Like Perry, he studied Inuit survival techniques. Inuit, right? That's the tribe. The Inuit survival techniques. During their 1908 to '09 expedition to Greenland, Henson was one of the 6 men, including Peary and 4 Inuit assistants, who claimed to have been the first to reach the geographic North Pole. In interviews, Henson identified as the first member of the party to reach what they believed was the pole. Their claim had gained widespread acceptance, but in 1989, Wiley Herbert published research that found that their expedition records were unreliable, indicated an implausibly high speed during their final rush for the pole, and that the men could have fallen 30 to 60 miles short of the pole due to navigational errors. Henson achieved a degree of fame as a result of participating in the expedition, and in 1912 he published a memoir titled The Negro Explorer at the North Pole.
Oh,
As he approached old age, his exploits received renewed attention. In 1937, he was the first African American to be made a life member of the Explorers Club.
Mm,
I've been there before. In 1948, he was elevated to the club's highest level of membership. In 1944, Henson was awarded the Peary Polar Expedition Medal, and he was received at the White House by Presidents Harry Truman and Dwight Eisenhower. Damn,
mm,
that's a
mm.
feat. Truman was a fucking racist. You know, Eisenhower had to play the role, but goddamn, Truman. Anyway, in 1988, he and his wife were reinterred at Arlington National Cemetery. Almost a century after his expeditions, Henson was posthumously awarded the Hubert Medal by the National Geographic Society.
Mm.
Hmm. So you're talking about triumph through adversity. You're talking about the cross that some of the trailblazers have had to bear, right?
Mm.
To establish a standard of excellence in the name of quote unquote, for the lack of a better term, blackness.
Mm.
And the people who are recipients of that don't even fucking know who these people are, let alone
Mm.
let their names live. But continue to tell me about the fucking Willies, like
Mm.
in the city. Like everybody knows who brought dope to their fucking city,
Mm.
but they can't identify with greatness.
Mm.
And you wonder why. Hmm.
Mm.
But we'll argue you down and tell you, no, that's one of them niggas that Leonardo was talking about in Candyland. That's only one out of
Mm.
that's the one out of the 10,000. We don't need to be talking about that because he's an outlier.
Mm. When I hear these things, Blue, honestly, I feel I feel embarrassed with my own self when I hear stuff like this. I study these people's lives and I say, wow, I can't tie y'all shoes. I can't tie y'all shoes. For you to make $1 million in the 1800s is equivalent for you to make $1 billion now.
Facts.
And the discipline and dedication that it would take for you to achieve those things at that particular time, even now, is mind blowing.
I mean,
And
the shit was selling for 5 cents, right? You whipping up a million, you got 30 M's.
right, right.
Getting it from stock tips, and they ain't figured it out yet that you caking up like this, and you wise enough to have a face that's the front of your operation, so you could
Hmm.
swell up. Like they didn't notice her when she blew past her first M. She got to 30. I don't even believe that. In terms of they saying that she was stealing, no, she was probably the plug, the intelligence, like in Hidden Figures. She was the mathematical mind that was telling these people about them stock tips.
Of course,
Because
man.
truth be told, they said that's how Casper Holstein. They say he was janitor in Wall Street. This was a brother from St. Croix who figured out he used to get the slips, right? As a janitor, they said he would get the slips and go in the closet and figure out patterns. He created the three-number card game that would give Harlem its economic boost, the number game. That's what's created by a melanated man that came from St. Croix named Caspar Holstein, who they fictionalized in Boardwalk Empire with the character of Luis Narcisse. Come on,
Mm,
man.
mm. Yeah, man. I gotta do more. I'm not doing enough.
Oh,
I mean, I'm looking at people's things, and it's, bro. We could go all night, bro. I could just be picking black people that I study and know about, bro. That just is the shit, fam. You know. And when I look at them, it's I get intimidated because I'm like, how dare I say anything about, oh, it be, man, these people, put their work ethic and focus and achievement. And the thing about it is, the funny thing about these people is they wanted their American dream. They wanted their degrees, they wanted their money, they wanted land, they wanted houses. Listen to the narrative now niggas talk about, oh, money is the white man shit. Credit don't matter, money don't matter. Listen to how these niggas talk. These people wasn't saying that.
Mm.
And quiet is kept. If these people were alive right now, they would not fuck with the masses of black collective.
Mm-mm. How
They
could they?
would they would distance themselves from niggas.
They would have to.
Hmm. Yeah, these are phenomenal people. 2 weeks straight though. None of these people got a movie. None of these people's on t-shirts. No black history. No nothing. And these are the most successful black, because technically, if she got 30 million men, she's more successful than Beyonce.
Mm.
Jeremiah Hamilton was more successful than Jay-Z and Michael Jordan. These that people that we're talking about are the most successful black people in
In our historical record,
period.
and nobody knows their name. We're not
No
edifying.
one knows their name, bro. No one knows their name.
I mean, Mansa Musa, to his credit, had a fucking army,
Right.
and he was flourishing at the time when melanated people were flourishing on the planet. We had trade routes and everything. These people were behind enemy lines, allegedly against all fucking odds, and they put one hell of a layup on. They did the shit where the nigga Earl of Pearl or one of them, they could put the cord on top of the backboard.
Yeah, that's the goat.
Yeah, the goat. Yeah, they did that
Yeah.
shit. That was the economic equivalent to the layups that they were out here doing. They was putting the quarter on top of the fucking backboard. How's that for some ups? Right? And the sport is the bag. The sport is money. And they're not even revered enough that we mention them or got a fucking mural somewhere for them or a t-shirt or nothing.
Mm,
And they put them M's up against all odds. They
mm,
ain't selling no narcotics or nothing. They ain't selling no butt. None of that.
mm,
And butt was selling back then. And so was narcotics.
mm.
But they got it from the cuff and they did it as, from what we could tell, upstanding citizenship because they had to represent, right? They had to motherfucking represent a pedigree of moral uprightness where they couldn't get tore down because they was under that scrutiny and that microscope. So they had to put on in a way in which was unreal. And it was so motherfucking upright that it stood upright like a skyscraper
Mm,
with no help
mm,
against all odds.
mm.
Hmm. And the best that we can do is get in the chat room and say that they're outliers.
Mm, mm.
You know?
Why you think that is, bro?
I mean, because
What is the importance to make them outliers and not the norm?
because with most things, when you are presented with things that are jolting to your system, your initial response, just like you said, is to put that into this this category where these people are abnormalities to say, look, that's not natural, that's not normal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Because at the same time, you're just saying, oh, well, that can't be me. That gives me an excuse. Them niggas is mutants. You feel me?
Hmm.
So I think that it's a little bit of that, you know. It's the denial of giving that person that platform and that access to, now compare yourself to them to be like, well, goddamn, I have my freedom allegedly. I have access to resource allegedly. I got credit. I got a jump start. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What am I doing? I don't think people are as comfortable having that conversation with themselves.
I mean, just for shits and giggles. Blue, you ready for one more? Just one more. I'll give you one more.
All right.
James Durham.
Like Durham, North Carolina.
No, Derham. James Durham. James Durham.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Let me go back to the screen share. Let me get this. All right, here we go. Here we go, family. James Durham, 1786 to 1802, with the question mark. 1802, Doctor. Hold on. Let's go back to the date, family.
Yeah, go to the date.
1762 to 1802. So this is before the emancipation, allegedly.
Way before.
Dr. James Durham has been widely acknowledged as the first recognized African American to be a physician in the United States.
Uh, uh, uh.
Due to a lack of detailed documentation of his life, little is known about him, including the date and manner of his death, as he would go missing in 1802, never to be seen again. While some believe he may have been murdered because of his success as a doctor, others think he left Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to practice elsewhere in the world. James Durham was born in 1762 in Philadelphia. He lived and worked most of his early life as a slave, owned by slaveholders who were themselves doctors. Dr. John Kersley was the owner who taught Durham as a child to read and write fluently in Spanish and French. Kersley also introduced Durham to medicine by teaching him the principles of pharmacy. From this, Durham swiftly gained a variety of health related experience due to his exposure to Dr. Kersley's medical practice. After the death of Dr. John Kersley in 1776, James Durham, at the age of 15, was sold to one other owner, Dr. George West, who in turn helped the young enslaved person to expand his knowledge of medicine. In 1783, when Durham was 21, he was sold to Dr. Robert Doe, a prominent Scottish born physician living in New Orleans, Louisiana. Dow, despite being Durham's enslaver, would also become a genuine friend who aided young Durham in further strengthening his medical training. Dow allowed Durham to practice on patients of varying race while working with him, which is the first recorded instance in the United States of a black person trained in medicine being allowed to work with patients of any racial background. Later in 1783, Dow either granted Durham his freedom or Durham paid for his liberation from the earnings he received from the patients he treated. Durham would now practice medicine independently in New Orleans, specializing in throat medicine. By 1786, Durham had established many prominent connections due to his reputation as a reputable physician. He was now particularly noted for his treatment of diphtheria cases, a serious infection within the membranes of the throat and nose. Durham's success ignited the interest of Dr. Benjamin Rush, the most prominent physician in the United States at the time, who urged Durham to come back to Philadelphia and open up a practice there. Durham, however, stayed in New Orleans and in 1789 helped save the lives of numerous patients during an epidemic of yellow fever that swept the city. He also continued to see patients of various racial backgrounds. Durham eventually returned to Philadelphia. Despite proving himself to be an exceptional doctor, his practice would soon be restricted by Pennsylvania regulations established in 1801. Those regulations barred anyone from practicing medicine without a formal medical degree. Nonetheless, James Durham would continue to practice medicine until his mysterious disappearance in 1802. Mm,
And they didn't put that in there, but he made $3,000 a year.
3 racks a year.
3 racks. So, and at that time, you might as well say that's like 35,000.
Okay.
He spoke 3 languages. I'm like, damn, his slavery experience was kind of wavy though. I'm like, he keeps learning shit,
Yeah, they kept him
and and and
in,
and
to
and
higher
and
learning.
and what we're seeing, bro. The interesting thing is what we think people went through slavery and what they actually went through is a different story based on these people.
Mm,
What it seems like is these people were like maids and butlers. But and blue, since the what we read last week, we see these people after the slavery is over befriending the people that once owned it. Hmm. These people taught this man medicine. Mm. I mean, can't nobody tell me nothing, man. I'm sorry. Can't nobody tell me nothing. After it's so much lies, it's so much we don't know what the fuck happened because every week, bro, we just keep picking names out of a hat of just
wait, hold on. See, James. Oh, this is somebody different. James McCoon Smith was the first African American to earn a medical degree. In 1837, Smith earned a medical degree from the University of Glasgow in Scotland. When he returned to the United States, Smith said, I have striven to obtain education at every sacrifice and every hazard, and to apply such education to the good of our common country. For the next 25 years, Smith worked to fulfill his words. With a medical practice in Lower Manhattan, Smith specialized in general surgery and medicine, providing treatment to African Americans as well as white patients. In addition to his medical practice, Smith was the first African American to manage a pharmacy in the United States.
1800.
Tapping out, man. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, point proven,
All
man.
these names, man.
Point proven, bro. Point proven, man. Point proof. They lied to us.
No, no. Whew.
Point proven, man. I ain't got no rap, man. That's 2 weeks in a row, man. Body bags. Don't talk to me about none of this shit before I start bringing these names up on these niggas. All I know is I just got massive work to do. I got work to do, man. Shit, I'm behind compared to what these these niggas making me step my shit up. Like, oh,
Mm, mm.
No excuse. Black women was getting it. Black men was getting it. And here's the thing. Here is the thing that modern conscious community people are not gonna like. You know what it is, Boo? I bet you every last one of these people we mentioned as successful was Christian.
Uh-oh.
How come black people succeeded with Christianity
Uh-oh.
and niggas now got all the books, all Maya, Book of the Dead, all that shit, and you can't do nothing?
Uh-oh.
These people weren't atheists
They weren't.
and they didn't know shit about Kemet. They knew that Bible.
Uh, that Bible.
How Captain Cesario say that Bible, that Bible.
Bible, that Bible.
I'm just saying though, every last one of these people are Christian. They're millionaires. They got land. They got a bunch of shit. Now I'm not telling people what to be or what not to be. I'm just saying though, the shit that you're banging on is the shit your so-called ancestors used to have more than you.
Mm.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Blue, they Christian, bro.
For the most part, huh?
I'm just saying though. So you got niggas now. Oh, Christianity, this. Okay, I'm just saying though. How come these people succeeded with it? That was the thing. That was their base. That was empowering them. Because
Right.
Blue, I don't know if you know the number. How many churches did Black Wall Street have there?
What did they say? 20 something?
So leave it up to these niggas. Man, this man, I ain't got no rap. I ain't got no rap. I ain't got no rap, man. Body bag, point proven. No, you know what I'm saying? Nothing nobody can say could tell me any different. We're talking about the real black America. This is the real black America, bro. Not this shit that we're seeing right now.
That's what it looked like.
Yep, this ain't the real black America. This is the after effect
Mm.
of the lie of the war on poverty of crack cocaine. They separated niggas from this part of black America.
Right. This the amnesia the Black America caught.
Yep. And to move forward, you got to do like Daniel said. You got to forget about this shit that's going on. You got to have amnesia to it. The same way the people that rebuilt Black America had amnesia to that, so you can move forward. You got to have amnesia to this shit right here and stop promoting it. Stop promoting these lies about, oh, I'm oppressed. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you are not. That's not fucking true. All you got to do is try.
Mm.
That's all you got to do is try. That's it. That's all you got to do is try.
Mm. Mm. Crazy as that.
Dudes at different times don't credit Christianity for this. Nah, I'm crediting Christianity for their success. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Because it's the same theme. All these blacks that are making these moves are fucking Christian. I have to credit that. Because guess what? If it was African spirituality, you would say, yo, give that the credit, wouldn't you?
There's your word. You see?
The problem is niggas ain't you ain't make that Bible work for you. But guess what? That Jew make that Bible work for him. That Jew make that that Jew make that Torah work for him and that Kabbalah work for him. The
Shit.
Arab is making that
Everybody
Quran work
making
for
that
him.
Bible work. Everybody making that Bible work.
Everybody making that Bible work.
Yeah.
Niggas don't want it.
I said,
And
I recently found out that the nation and other Sunni Muslims and Rastas and all of them niggas believe in Jesus.
hmm,
But why that shit don't work for them though?
hmm,
Outliers in religion. They're not like up front, you know what I'm saying? Like really dealing with the shit, making it work for him. Make for Jehovah Witness make that shit work for them. Just
Jehovah's Witness make that work for him.
Babylon working for them. And whoever else they connected to. They the majority real estate owners in the motherfucking country. All based off religion. Why is everybody else know how to make this shit do what it do? They can make this shit twerk, but we can't. And there's a historical account of how we made this shit twerk, how
Hmm.
we made this shit work for us. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah. Point proven, bro. Can't, them receipts just kill everything.
Something else.
Nigga, Google is God, nigga. Fuck that.
She's something else, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Get them every time. The
You
receipts
know?
gonna get you every time, family.
You know what I'm saying? So
Advice.
I ain't got that's we gave them some more names and they can take that and they can, make it do what it do. They just learned about a black explorer. They learned about uh a wealthy black entrepreneur woman. What was the person's name that you were talking about that
Anderson
hit
Willis.
Texas?
You learned about a wealthy, melanated uh, Ethiopian. You know, the brother got the Ethiopian background, who had 3,000 acres that he bought with solid gold bars that he brought with him over from Virginia. You
Mhm.
understand? And his land was what motherfucking Rockefeller used to pop off Standard Oil.
Hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
Anderson Willis. You have no excuses,
hmm,
none whatsoever.
hmm. Facts. Oh my God. Yo, never read the comment section. I'm sorry. Yo, I just gotta say this, bro. This is funny. Somebody said it was community, not Christianity. Y'all don't get it, man. Y'all don't get it. Because of your relationship with the book or what you think is doing. That's what your perspective is. These people were using the Bible to move through life, man. Period. You don't want to accept that fact. That's what it is. Now, interesting enough, look at Black America. Now, I'm like kind of atheist, so I'm not being biased, but look at Black America since Black America went secular. Hmm. Since Black America really started the big portion of the conscious community and people that's angry, everybody that started denouncing that Bible, look at the culture.
They don't want to do that.
Hmm.
That's a serious self-assessment that
Look look at the culture.
I don't think too many people are openly willing to do.
And be honest. Look at the culture. If you look at the Bible as a tool instead of not emotionally, it makes sense. Because I could take the book of Ecclesiastes and I could raise my son off the book of Ecclesiastes. I could take the book of Proverbs and raise a kid off the book of Proverbs. You telling me that there's no right knowledge in it? Hmm?
Hmm.
When the book of Ecclesiastes talk about time, there's a time to kill, there's a time to heal, there's a time to reap, there's a time to sow, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to mourn. That's not right knowledge. That's not true. You could take Jesus' name out and replace it with a family member, if that's the case, or replace it with Horus,
That's the
re-
case.
replace it with Mithra, replace it with Zoroaster,
Like I said,
replace
I
it with
could, I
Krishna.
could rewrite the entire Bible just utilizing the law of 44, 44, passages dealing with 44, and it would be a powerful book just stripped down enough. So, I mean, you don't throw the whole thing out, man. It's this, you know, what
Hmm,
I'm saying?
hmm.
There's ways
I'm
that
just,
you can tweak.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? They used it as a tool and it worked for them. Don't try to take their narrative away. Nah, and put your spin on it. Nah, I did. Nah, it was community. Nah, man, it was Christianity. You don't like it, but that's what the fuck it was. Period. That's that's just what it was, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Don't take them people shit away. You know what I mean?
Tough talk.
Tough salt. So look, this is the thing. Everybody's using a book. They use Christianity. The United States uses the American Constitution. Arabs, Middle Eastern people use Islam. Eastern culture use the art of war. It uses Bushido, I believe, in Japan of samurai culture. It uses the Tao Te Ching, the I Ching. Everybody uses a document. A document is at the base of what they're doing. Now I ask people, someone tell me on the chat, what is the document that governs Black American life today? Because if it ain't Christianity and it ain't Islam, then what is the document that governs your life? Because every human being on earth is going by a document. Even if you live in the jungle, they'll take you to a cave and show you some type of paintings.
Good point.
What is the written script that's governing your life right now? And if you have none, you're a savage.
Mm.
I'm just saying, what's your document? Because every human on the planet is going off some script. Point me to a people. I guarantee it's some manuscript they're going by at the root of their society. Do you blue? Well, I have the answer to this question, and I'll leave it at this. Do you know the documents that Black Americans go off of today?
Um, Donald going books
No, rap music.
preceded by Donald going books. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that shit is just Donald Goins with a beat.
Hmm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, rap music.
Rap music, man. Rap music. That's the document. When the average nigga's talking, he gonna mix his language with bars.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And
Quotables.
and nothing wrong with that. Just make sure the documents you using addresses your economic status. It addresses your spirituality. It addresses your family. It addresses your health. Cause like it or not, inside of the Bible, it addresses every single thing. Diet, civil, social things. So that's why people make it work for them. So does Islam. So does Confucianism. Just saying. Plato's Republic.
Yeah. Hold on, y'all. I need to get these motherfucking thumbs up in this chat, y'all. Y'all bugging. You
Hmm.
getting pure bars tonight. This is what I'm talking about. Nerve. I getting all this information and you can't even give a goddamn thumbs up,
Mm-mm-mm.
let alone hit the motherfucking cash app up for a tip. But you can't pay for this information. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yo, hit the thumb over there on the shit, right? The shit that's over here to say 30. Like, put the likes up. So this information can, you know, YouTube can filter this and put the shit at the top so more people can gain access to this information. You can't just hoard it for yourself, strip it down, remix it, and do whatever the hell you do with information that you get that you don't value. But
Hmm.
for me, you could go to $ Blue Pillar 44 to show your appreciation in that cash app and hit the brother Ken. His cash app is Kenny Briz, BRIS. Okay?
Or you can go to cambrisbot.com, snatch up one of them fire ebooks.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Hit me on the Nothing But Game hotline, 888-565-8734, and subscribe to the YouTube page. But my closing remarks is this. Now that you know that there's a standard in Black America, you just didn't know about it, but now that you know, what are you going to do about it? Now that you know the real Black American is a successful people, what are you going to do about it? Now that you know that, you know what, you've been lied to, and the lie is to keep you in that situation. Now that you know that you come from brilliance, and I don't got to go to Africa to find brilliance. I'm not talking about no pyramid builders. Well, I am, matter of fact. I'm talking about people that build pyramids here. Mary Allen Pleasant built pyramids here. Jeremiah Hamilton built pyramids here. You know, Reginald Lewis built pyramids here.
Anderson
You
Willis.
built pyramids here, man. So what are you gonna do? As for me, when I hear these stories, I'm embarrassed, but I'm inspired, and I'm embarrassed because I'm not doing enough. So what are you gonna do?
Yes, indeed. All right. With that, y'all, definitely want to say thank you, peace, love, and light. You know, and I'm back in the gym, bro. So I gotta get up,
Hmm.
break of dawn, and get back in this swing of things, keep this marathon moving. Feel me?
Hmm.
But as always, appreciate you for bringing that tough talk. You know what I'm saying? I learned something. I'm activated and motivated. You know what I mean? And I know that my contributions got to be triple fold just to the bar that I set is for myself is high.
Hmm.
Got to be able to look in the mirror and be content with what I'm seeing. Not content to the degree that I'm slowing down and stopping, but just saying gauge my like okay, you on pace with things. You know what I'm saying? I like the way that this is going. Every time that you come across greatness and you're able to look at it level eye to eye, you're gonna learn something new about yourself. So I look forward to laying down with these thoughts and seeing how they matriculate into my subconscious and the extra push that I bring to the table tomorrow on this never quest towards that greatness.
Hmm. Shout out to the Empress too, man.
Oh, totally. Shout out to the Empress. All working.
You know.
You know what I'm saying? Always in the building, showing that love and dedication. You know, these young women that we're talking about that defying all of the odds, and you often see them, what I'm saying, in these narratives and these stories and scripts that we read, they're singular. You can tell like they marry and they, you know what I mean? But you know that the greatness is really in them. She's that reincarnated. You know what I mean? She got that spirit. So salute to her. Real talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, wrapped out.
Thank you for everybody that has journeyed with us on this particular program. Once again, hit that like button. All right. Appreciate y'all. Peace, love, and light.
Peace.
See you on the next episode.